Welcome to Infinite Novel Audio. Like, subscribe, and enjoy this video. Chapter 1, Calamity System. Douluo Continent, Heaven Du Empire, Saint Spirit Village. Tang San, please stop. Tang San was carrying a wooden basin full of dirty clothes and walking out of the village. Upon hearing the shout, his footsteps involuntarily paused, and he turned around to look at the person who called out to him, feeling somewhat impatient. Something. His tone was calm and indifferent, giving people the feeling that he was hard to approach. Have you heard? The Spirit Master from Spirit Hall will come tomorrow to awaken our spirits. Just as Lin Chen finished speaking, a mechanical voice rang out in his mind. Calamity strike on Tang San successful, obtained God-level spirit, heavenly thunder whip. 3 months, finally farmed a spirit, and it's even a God-level spirit. Lin Chen was overjoyed. At the same time, a wisp of black energy, visible only to Lin Chen, burrowed into the center of Tang San's forehead, making his already somewhat dark glabella even gloomier. Good heavens, this bad luck has accumulated quite a bit. I hope it doesn't just kill Tang San outright, otherwise Tang Hao will go crazy. A flicker of worry inexplicably rose in Lin Chen's heart. I know, old Jack already came to my house this morning to tell me. Tang San dropped this sentence and turned to leave. He really couldn't understand this guy, always saying please stop every day. He must have nothing better to do. Lin Chen didn't continue calling him, otherwise he was afraid he would make him anxious. Open panel. With a thought from Lin Chen, a light screen visible only to him appeared in the void 3 feet in front of his eyes, recording some information. Name Lin Chen. Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip, unawakened. Level 10. Mental Strength 10. Physique 10. Techniques Mystic Origin Art, Basic Whip Technique, Basic Movement Technique. Still level 10. It's a God-level spirit after all, doesn't it come with even 1 level of added spirit power? Lin Chen couldn't help but curl his lips. That level 10 spirit power was something he had farmed from Tang San over these past 3 months. In other words, the God-level spirit hadn't given him even half a level of spirit power. This God level is a bit too disappointing, isn't it? Forget it, as long as I make Tang San suffer a bit more, I'll have everything. Lin Chen couldn't help but shake his head. 3 months ago, he inexplicably awakened the wisdom of his past life, and realized that he had transmigrated, or rather, was reborn into the novel world of Douluo Continent. Along with the awakened wisdom came a calamity system. The system's function was very simple. As long as he called out name, please stop from behind the target, and the other party stopped and responded, he could obtain rewards, but at the same time, it would also attach a bad luck curse to the target. This was the so-called calamity strike. Tang San's dark glabella was the unexploded bad luck curse. The bad luck might explode immediately, or it might accumulate to a certain point before exploding, and Tang San, this child of destiny, seemed to have rather bad luck. Because the more bad luck accumulated, the more violent it would be when it exploded. No one knew what he would face when that time came. For example, the spirit awakening is tomorrow, if Tang San's bad luck explodes at that time. Hiss. Thinking of this possibility, Lin Chen immediately couldn't help but gasp. He's a child of destiny after all, he shouldn't be that unlucky, right? Lin Chen shook his head. Whether Tang San's luck is good or bad, what does it have to do with him? He just wanted to farm rewards. For the sake of his own bright future, he had to make Tang San suffer a bit. After all, his parents passed away early, and he only survived until now thanks to the relief from the villagers. He couldn't be ungrateful and cast calamity strike on his many benefactors, right? Lin Chen closed the panel and leisurely returned home. His house was located in the south of the village, a 3-bay rammed earth house, with a small courtyard of about 100 square meters, fenced in with 10-year-old lonely bamboo in front of the house. Lin Chen pushed open the picket fence gate, returned home, and began to cultivate mystic origin art. The next day, early morning, old Jack brought Lin Chen and Tang San to the spirit hall early in the morning. Su Yuntao had already been waiting here. After exchanging a few simple pleasantries, old Jack exited the spirit hall. Children, stand in a row. Just as Su Yuntao finished speaking, Lin Chen stood at the very front. Being the finale was impossible. The others stood in a row behind him, and Tang San remained huddled at the back. Remember, no matter what happens later, don't be afraid, Su Yuntao said after a simple self-introduction. After speaking, he took out 6 awakening stones and a blue crystal ball. Very quickly, Su Yuntao set up the awakening formation. Come on, stand in the middle, Su Yuntao said while looking at Lin Chen, a faint smile hanging on his face. Lin Chen stepped forward and stood in the formation. Lone wolf, possess. Su Yuntao suddenly gave a low shout, and in an instant, he transformed into a werewolf, with 1 white and 1 yellow spirit rings slowly rising from under his feet. Is this a beast spirit? There was only curiosity in Lin Chen's eyes, whereas a child behind him was so scared that he retreated repeatedly and let out a piercing scream. Su Yuntao glanced at the child who screamed, but his gaze quickly fell back onto Lin Chen. This child is quite special. He had been to so many villages and had never seen such a calm child. Feel it with your heart. As Su Yuntao spoke, his hands struck out repeatedly, injecting 6 faint green lights into the awakening stones on the ground, and a hazy golden brilliance suddenly rose. Lin Chen was quickly completely enveloped by the rising golden brilliance. Warm, indescribably warm. Lin Chen was tightly wrapped by an indescribable warmth. Then a surge of energy emerged from within his body. The moment that energy emerged, it surged straight toward his right hand. He subconsciously reached out his right hand. He saw a long whip with a black wooden handle, a slender body, an extremely sharp tail, and purple thunder coiling around the whip body appear in his palm. The moment the heavenly thunder whip appeared, a shocking aura of destruction suddenly swept out. The few children standing behind Lin Chen were shocked and retreated repeatedly, all looking at the heavenly thunder whip with terrified faces. Even Su Yuntao subconsciously took a step back. This, in addition to his horror, Su Yuntao's expression also carried a hint of excitement. As long as one wasn't blind, one could see the extraordinary nature of that long whip. Such an extraordinary spirit could not possibly lack innate soul power. And the level would most likely not be low. Was good luck finally coming his turn? Lin Chen looked down at the heavenly thunder whip in his hand. He had already obtained its information. It didn't come from the spirit's feedback, but from the system's feedback. Heavenly thunder whip can be long or short, can be hard or soft. At the very back of the line, Tang San stared intently at the long whip in Lin Chen's hand. That long whip actually made him feel a palpitation. You have to know, even Su Yuntao's spirit hadn't brought him such a feeling. Is that guy's spirit really that strong? Tang San subconsciously lowered his head, raised his right hand, and looked at his own palm. What will my spirit be? I hope it won't be too bad. The glory of the Tang sect is still waiting for me to rebuild it. Chapter 2: The Cracked Clear Sky Hammer. Su Yuntao regained his composure, asked Lin Chen the name of his spirit, and after teaching him how to retract it, handed him the spirit power testing crystal. Child, come and test your innate soul power. Lin Chen nodded and reached out his right hand, placing it on the crystal ball. The moment his hand touched the crystal ball, a dazzling purple light suddenly flared up. The light was intense but not blinding. This is actually innate full spirit power. Su Yuntao was dumbfounded and cried out in shock. He truly hadn't expected that one day he would be able to awaken such a genius. If he could recruit him into the spirit hall, a promotion and a raise would be right around the corner. Child, what is your name? Su Yuntao suppressed the joy in his heart and asked Lin Chen gently while looking at him. Lin Chen said, "My name is Lin Chen." Su Yuntao hurriedly followed up, "Lin Chen, are you willing to join the spirit hall? With your talent, if you are willing to join the spirit hall, you will definitely receive priority cultivation. Even a titled Douluo would absolutely be willing to take you as a disciple. You might not know what a titled Douluo means yet. A titled Douluo is the most powerful existence on the continent. There are only a few in the entire continent. As if afraid that Lin Chen wouldn't agree, Su Yuntao poured out all the greatest temptations he could think of, placing them directly before Lin Chen. Tang San and the others were all stunned as they listened. Titled Douluo, the most powerful existence, with only a few in the entire continent. Is Lin Chen's talent really that heaven-defying? Feelings of envy and jealousy sprouted uncontrollably from the depths of the children's hearts. Even Tang San felt a trace of jealousy. However, in an instant, that trace of jealousy in his heart dissipated. He, Tang San, was not inferior to anyone. As a genius of the Tang sect and a reincarnator, he would absolutely not be worse than Lin Chen. Grandmaster Su Yuntao, I need to consider it. Although Lin Chen didn't have any ill feelings towards the spirit hall, it was undeniable that there weren't many normal people in that bunch. Besides, Tang Hao was still in the village. If Tang Hao found out that a genius like him had joined the spirit hall, then, the moment he and Su Yuntao stepped out of the village, they would likely be hammered to death. Ugh. The corners of Su Yuntao's mouth twitched slightly. He clearly hadn't expected him to refuse. After all, for commoners, the spirit hall was absolutely the best choice. Without exception. Such a major life decision should indeed be considered carefully. Although he was very unwilling, Su Yuntao didn't dare to push too hard, otherwise if he caused the other party's aversion, it would really be hopeless. Lin Chen bowed slightly. Thank you for your understanding, Grandmaster Su Yuntao. You go wait to the side first. Lin Chen chose to stand behind and to the right of Su Yuntao, which was convenient for observing later. Next, Su Yuntao quickly collected his mood and guided the next child to stand in the awakening array. Without any surprises, the subsequent people were unable to awaken any innate soul power. Feelings of frustration and disappointment spread throughout the hall. Standing at the very back, Tang San also became nervous under the influence of this atmosphere. Spirit sickle, no spirit power next. Finally, it was Tang San's turn, and after taking a deep breath, he stepped into the awakening array. Will it erupt? Lin Chen also perked up, staring fixedly at Tang San's glabella. Golden light rose from the awakening stone. As Tang San subconsciously extended his right hand, he tightly suppressed his left hand. It was at this moment. Wisps of black energy suddenly erupted from his dark glabella, and they all swarmed towards Tang San's left hand. Lin Chen couldn't help but widen his eyes. Good heavens, it really erupted. Crack, crack. A crisp sound echoed in Tang San's mind, causing his expression to change involuntarily. The spirit was closely connected to oneself. Tang San could clearly feel that his other spirit had shattered. Damn it, how could this happen? Could it be that my suppression caused the spirit to shatter? I just wanted to hide my talent. Damn Su Yuntao, why did you warn me about such an important matter? Tang San was burning with anger and immediately pushed all the responsibility onto Su Yuntao. In his view, this was all caused by Su Yuntao's inadequate warning. If he had explained it beforehand, how could he have tried to hide his talent? Perhaps due to the spirit's backlash, or perhaps from extreme anger, Tang San suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Su Yuntao. He had awakened so many children, but he had never encountered such a thing. Child, are you okay? Su Yuntao stepped forward, wanting to support the pale-faced Tang San. But he was shoved away by Tang San. Tang San wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes, looking at Su Yuntao again, were somewhat cold. Su Yuntao. This child must have something wrong with him. Why can't he tell kindness from malice? Lin Chen desperately suppressed the corners of his mouth. He saw it very clearly. Tang San's clear sky hammer had cracked. It was precisely because of this that Tang San spat blood. It was just unclear whether it was a superficial crack or if there was a problem with the origin. If it was the former, it would be fine. Releasing it again would restore it. If it was the latter, then his clear sky hammer spirit would likely be ruined. I wonder what Tang Hao's reaction would be if he saw the cracked clear sky hammer. Spirit blue silver grass, trash spirit. Su Yuntao glanced at Tang San's blue silver grass and immediately prepared to pack his things. Tang San hurriedly said, "Wait, you haven't tested my spirit power yet." "No need to test, I have never seen a blue silver grass with innate soul power," Su Yuntao said without turning his head. "Uncle, let me try." Tang San subconsciously clenched his fists, enduring his disgust as he called him uncle. Su Yuntao turned back to look at him. All right. In the end, he wasn't going to get angry with a child. He handed over the crystal ball, and Tang San extended his right hand. A dazzling light shone again, leaving Su Yuntao completely stunned. What kind of joke is this? A trash spirit like blue silver grass can actually awaken with innate full spirit power. Su Yuntao expressed his incomprehension. Seeing that dazzling light, the corners of Tang San's mouth curled up involuntarily. He, Tang San, was not inferior to anyone. Blue silver grass might be a trash spirit, but he still had his second. Thinking of this, Tang San's heart suddenly sank. Although he had a second spirit, it seemed he had ruined it himself. Su Yuntao, you have already courted death. Although Su Yuntao didn't quite understand, since it was at least innate full spirit power, he still symbolically invited Tang San. Tang San refused without any surprise. Carrying a depressed mood, Su Yuntao led Lin Chen and the others out of the spirit hall. Grandmaster, how was it? Old Jack, who was guarding outside the hall, immediately came up to greet them. Su Yuntao said, "Your village produced 2 spirit master seedlings this year, and both have innate full spirit power, though one of them has a spirit of slightly inferior quality." What, 2 with innate full spirit power? Old Jack was dumbfounded, clearly shocked by the other party's words. Chapter 3. Tang Hao slaps Tang San in anger. Normally, a village only has 1 quota for a work-study student, but since spirit master talent is rare, you can borrow the quota from the neighboring spiritless village. After finishing speaking, Su Yuntao immediately began filling out the certificates for Lin Chen and the other. "Thank you, Grandmaster." Old Jack was overjoyed. The tuition for a Spirit Master Academy was not cheap. This really solved a huge problem for their village. Su Yuntao finished the certificates, handed them to Old Jack, and then turned to look at Lin Chen. "If you have made up your mind, remember to come to the New Uding City Spirit Hall to find me. Forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio." Lin Chen nodded. "All right, Grandmaster Su Yuntao." Old Jack's eyes lit up upon hearing this. He hadn't expected Lin Chen to be one of the 2 Spirit Master prospects. The hard days for this child had finally come to an end. "All right, I still need to go to other villages, so I'll be off first." Su Yuntao turned and left. Lin Chen wanted to say something but hesitated, ultimately suppressing the impulse in his heart. Awakening spirits for commoners might just be Su Yuntao's job, but his contributions shouldn't be erased because of that. Better to let Tang San suffer a bit more. "Little San, the other one should be you, right?" Old Jack just glanced at them, and through everyone's expressions, he made his judgment. Tang San nodded. "It's me, Grandpa Jack." Sigh. Whenever Old Jack thought of his unreliable father, he couldn't help but sigh. "Little Chen, you go back first. I'm going to go to Little San's house." All right. Although Lin Chen really wanted to see the famous scene, it was destined not to play out in front of him. "Tang San, please wait." Just as Tang San turned around, Lin Chen's voice suddenly exploded in his ears. He turned around with a sullen face. "What is it?" These simple 3 words were squeezed out from between his teeth. Calamity strike on Tang San successful, obtained 100 gold coins. After seeing the black mist burrow into Tang San's brow, Lin Chen pointed to his own mouth and said, "Wipe it off, your father will worry." Tang San was stunned for a moment, and as if remembering something, he hurriedly wiped the corner of his mouth with his sleeve, cleaning away the bloodstain that had been so faint it was almost invisible. "Thank you." "Say." He even has to thank us. Lin Chen smiled slightly and turned to walk in the direction of his home. Back home, standing in his courtyard, Lin Chen couldn't wait to release his spirit. The heavenly thunder whip appeared in his hand, and a shocking momentum surged outward. Lin Chen flicked his arm, and the long whip lashed fiercely into the air. The purple lightning winding around the whip suddenly exploded at the point of impact. Crack! It was impossible to tell if it was the sound of the whip cracking or the thunder. It was crisp and loud. Lin Chen's gaze fell on a peach tree in the upper left corner of the yard, about 15 or 16 meters away, and then he gave the whip a shake. The long whip immediately shot out like a swimming dragon, and its length grew rapidly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The heavenly thunder whip grew to over 10 meters, wrapping tightly around the waist of the peach tree. Lin Chen gave it a forceful tug. Boom! The purple lightning on the whip exploded, actually snapping the peach tree in half. Lin Chen flicked his wrist, and the heavenly thunder whip rapidly shortened. In the blink of an eye, the 10-meter-long heavenly thunder whip shortened to just over a meter, and it was no longer in a limp state. The whip body was taut and straight like a sharp sword. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lin Chen used the whip as a sword, the purple lightning trailing after images in the air, creating bursts of rapid whistling sounds as it cut through the air. Not bad, worthy of being a god-tier spirit. Lin Chen put away the whip and stood still, a faint smile overflowing on his face. On the other side, after Tang Hao drove old Jack away, he was preparing to go back to the inner room to sleep. Dad, but I have another spirit. Tang San's voice reached his ears, and Tang Hao's figure suddenly froze. He turned around abruptly. What did you say? Tang San slowly raised his left hand, and a jet-black hammer, covered in cracks and feeling as light as a wooden hammer, appeared in his hand. This is. Tang Hao rushed in front of Tang San in one stride, but froze when his gaze fell on that hammer. It was indeed the clear sky hammer spirit, no doubt, but why was the hammer covered in cracks? Dad! Tang San lowered his head with a guilty conscience, saying with a wronged face. I originally wanted to hide my strength, but I didn't expect that when I suppressed it from emerging, I ended up suppressing it into this state. Is my spirit ruined? Tang Hao. So it wasn't like this at the beginning, but was made this way by himself. A perfectly good pair of twin spirits, and he managed to ruin one of them. That was a pair of twin spirits. That was the third pair of twin spirits in history, and he managed to ruin one before he even started cultivating. Thinking of this, Tang Hao instantly turned red with rage. Slap! Tang Hao slapped Tang San across the face, knocking him to the ground. He roared hysterically. Idiot! Trash! Do you know how much loss your stupidity has caused yourself? Do you know? Tang San lay half reclined on the ground, a trace of blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. He looked at his dad with an expression of disbelief. Although his dad was not very reliable, he had never hit him from childhood until now. This was the first time. However, Tang San, having taken the slap, did not feel angry because of it. Instead, he felt very self-reproachful. His dad, who had never hit him, had been so ruthless this time. This showed just how stupid his actions really were. Dad! Tang San wanted to explain something, but didn't know where to start. Don't call me Dad, I don't have such a stupid son as you. Tang Hao was absolutely furious. That was a pair of twin spirits. If a pair of twin spirits grew up, there might be a chance to destroy the spirit hall. But now it had been ruined by him. He, Tang Hao, had been wise all his life. How could he have produced such a stupid, trash son? Looking at his dad's expression of utter disappointment, Tang San was full of self-reproach. Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I didn't expect it would end up like this, and that Deacon didn't tell me either. Thinking of this, Tang San couldn't help but clench his fists. Damn Su Yuntao, why didn't you tell me about such an important matter? Seeing Tang San's miserable state, the anger in Tang Hao's heart dissipated a little. At the same time, a trace of self-reproach arose. If he had been able to follow him, this tragedy might not have happened. As for the spirit hall deacon not informing him, looking at the entire history, there were only 2 recorded cases of twin spirits. How could he have known to tell him? Let alone a mere deacon. I'm afraid even Bibaidong didn't know that hiding the second spirit would cause it to crack. This tragedy was purely caused by his negligence. Tang Hao looked up, his eyes slightly red, and his heart was full of mixed feelings. Ah Yin, I'm sorry, I failed to take good care of our son. Tang San looked up, his eyes full of unwillingness. He couldn't accept the fact that his own stupidity had led to him becoming trash. Dad, is it really beyond saving? Chapter 4, Newding City, buying whale glue. If I remember correctly, there are still 3 months until the new semester starts at Notting Academy. Should I stay in the village to farm rewards, or go to Newding City first to take care of business? Lin Chen sat on a stool, thinking to himself. The so-called business was, naturally, to purchase whale glue to increase his physical strength. The tolerance limit for a spirit master's first 4 spirit rings is linked solely to their physical strength, and whale glue happens to be the treasure that can enhance physical strength. However, the true function of whale glue was only discovered in the 2nd installment. Right now, it is just a virility drug. Spirit masters shouldn't have any use for virility drugs, and ordinary people can't withstand the potent medicinal effects, which means there is no market for high-age whale glue. Without trade, there is no harm. Who would stock goods that have no market and are hard to sell? If Lin Chen wanted high-age whale glue, he would likely need to pre-order it in advance. It would definitely be too late 3 months from now. Going to Newding City to pre-order now, 3 months would be more than enough time. Forget it, where can't I farm rewards? If I keep focusing only on Tang San to pluck rewards, it won't be good if I pluck him dry. Let him have a break for now. After a moment of thought, Lin Chen decided to go to Newding City early. The age of his first spirit ring was the key at the moment. Xiao Chen. Lin Chen looked up at the sound and saw old Jack walking over slowly. Grandpa Jack. Lin Chen hurriedly stood up, went to the fence gate, and opened it. Old Jack patted Lin Chen's head. Grandpa came over to tell you that enrollment for the new semester at Notting Academy won't be until 3 months from now, so don't be anxious. Grandpa, I plan to go to Newding City early to see if I can earn some living expenses. Lin Chen took the opportunity to say. Old Jack laughed dumbfoundedly. Child, making money isn't as simple as you imagine. You're only a 6-year-old child. No one will hire you for work. Grandpa, I am not an ordinary child. Lin Chen grinned, released his heavenly thunder whip, and lashed out at the peach tree lying on the ground. Snap! As the explosive sound rang out, the spot on the peach tree that was struck instantly exploded. Old Jack stared wide-eyed in shock. Had his spirit only just awakened, yet he already possessed such strong power. Grandpa Jack, don't worry, I will take good care of myself. Besides, Grandmaster Su Yuntao is still in Newding City. If I run into trouble, I will go find him. Seeing that he still wanted to say something, Lin Chen hurriedly gave him some reassurance. Upon hearing this, old Jack couldn't help but recall what Su Yuntao said to Lin Chen when he left. Fine, then Grandpa will send you to Newding City first thing tomorrow morning. Grandpa Jack, don't trouble yourself for me, I can go by myself. Lin Chen politely refused. Although old Jack was still physically sturdy, he was getting on in years after all, and making a round trip like that would be quite tiring. Old Jack glanced at the peach tree and thought that there really didn't seem to be any need. All right then, take care of yourself. As he spoke, old Jack took out the work-study student certificate belonging to Lin Chen from his pocket. Lin Chen took the certificate from his hands. I will be careful. After speaking, he took out the key and handed it to old Jack. Grandpa Jack, once I leave, even if I return in the future, it will only be for a short stay. If there is anything in the house you can use, feel free to take it. Old Jack understood this logic, so he took the key directly. Let's go. Grandpa will walk you to the village entrance. Old Jack walked Lin Chen to the village entrance, giving him endless instructions along the way. Grandpa Jack, you should go back, I'm leaving. Lin Chen waved his hand and walked towards Niuding City without looking back. Childs, take care on the road. I know, Grandpa Jack. Old Jack stood at the village entrance until Lin Chen completely disappeared from his view, then he shook his head and turned back to the village. Niuding City was not far from Saint Spirit Village, only about 15 or 16 kilometers away. In just over 3 hours, Lin Chen had arrived. Uncle, please stop. Just as Lin Chen entered the city, he called out to a very sturdy middle-aged man. The middle-aged man stopped. Little friend, is there anything? Calamity strike on passerby successful, obtained 132 gold coins. Lin Chen stared at his forehead. I observe that your forehead is dark, uncle, and I fear bad luck will descend upon you in the coming days. You should watch your wallet and pay more attention to your surroundings. It was only a single calamity strike. When the bad luck broke out, it would at most result in losing some money or tripping, so Lin Chen didn't have much of a psychological burden. Where did this brat come from? Go play somewhere else. The middle-aged man felt unlucky and suppressed the urge to beat him up. Hey, I was kindly reminding you. Get lost, get lost, get lost. Before Lin Chen could finish speaking, he was interrupted by the middle-aged man. After the middle-aged man finished speaking, he turned and left. What the hell, how unlucky. The middle-aged man cursed under his breath as he walked, but he didn't notice the raised stone slab at his feet, and he was tripped, his body falling directly toward the ground. Under normal circumstances, he would at most stumble. But it seemed his luck was just fine, and the bad luck erupted directly. Bang! The middle-aged man fell hard, his entire person falling into a state of bewilderment. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? He looked back at the raised stone slab, and suddenly his whole self felt terrible. Is that kid really that uncanny? Or is it that his spirit allows him to see through others' fortunes? The middle-aged man stood up abruptly. But he scanned the area and did not see any trace of that child. Damn, I missed an opportunity. The middle-aged man was on the verge of tears, regretting immensely that he hadn't asked a couple more questions. Lin Chen walked along, pretending to be a fortune teller. However, he still had a bottom line. He wouldn't target the elderly or children. The elderly and children might not be able to withstand a fall. Of course, if he encountered those disrespectful elders or bratty children, he would absolutely not be polite, and might even make it worse. Sigh, my luck is not good today. Seeing that he had harvested another 100+ gold coins, Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. The system rewards were random, and did not distinguish between children of destiny and ordinary people. Whether it was Tang San or ordinary people. Most of the rewards were gold coins, and special rewards depended on luck. And Lin Chen's luck today was clearly not that great. As he was walking, Lin Chen suddenly saw an adult goods store. Without too much hesitation, he walked straight in. Boss, do you have any whale glue for sale? The boss sitting behind the counter raised his head, and upon seeing Lin Chen, his mouth couldn't help but twitch. Was this child a bit too precocious? And how old was he to already need whale glue for assistance? It really is a case of feast for some and famine for others. Seeing the look in his eyes, Lin Chen immediately understood that he had misunderstood. It's not that, boss. Can't I be buying it on behalf of someone else? Huh, oh right. Ahem, well, I do have it for sale. How many years' worth do you want? The boss's expression was slightly awkward. Chapter 5, Ultimate Technique, Heaven's Thunder Strangling. The higher the age, the better. At least 5,000 years, 10,000 years or more would be best, Lin Chen said indifferently. The shopkeeper chuckled. Little friend, a 10,000-year whale glue isn't something an ordinary person can handle. Usually a few decades or 100 years is enough. At most, a few hundred years. Lin Chen asked, you don't have it here? The shopkeeper shook his head. No, the highest age I have is only over 1,000 years. Let alone here, you won't find a 10,000-year whale glue in all of Niuding City. That stuff has absolutely no market. No one would stock something that can't be sold. Lin Chen thought to himself, as expected. It was good he came early, otherwise he would probably be stuck at level 10 for quite some time. I'll pay, can you help me order it? The shopkeeper thought for a moment. There's no source for that stuff. Only when sea spirit masters need spirit rings do they potentially go hunt for it. Whether I can get it depends on luck. Lin Chen said generously, 5,000 years or more, name your price. He wasn't short on gold coins. Just from the street earlier, he had gained over 1,000, and he had farmed quite a few from Tang San before. Now he had a full 15,000 plus gold coins. Problems that can be solved with money aren't really problems. Hearing this, the shopkeeper's eyes lit up. Items over 5,000 years don't sell well, so there's no source. If you want one, I might need to hire someone to hunt specifically for it. This level isn't cheap. Lin Chen retorted impatiently, I need it, but it's not an absolute necessity. Besides, you're not the only one in the city with this channel. Give me a fair price so it's good for both of us. If you want to take this opportunity to gouge me, I advise you to give up that thought early. I'm no fool. Being rich is one thing, but he couldn't be treated like a pig for slaughter. The shopkeeper smiled awkwardly. I won't ask for much. 50 gold coins for a 5,000-year one, and 10 more gold coins for every additional 1,000 years. That's not excessive, right? Deal. When can the goods arrive? Lin Chen knew that whale glue might not be expensive in the first Douluo, but he hadn't expected it to be this cheap. A 10,000-year whale glue was actually only 100 gold coins. And that was even with a markup. But thinking about it, it made sense. How much is the annual salary of an ordinary working person? Who would spend that much money to buy a virility supplement? Damn, I asked for too little. Seeing that he didn't even haggle, the shopkeeper immediately realized he had asked for too little. He actually had the nerve to say he wasn't a fool. The deposit is 10 gold coins. I guarantee the goods will arrive within a month. The shopkeeper couldn't change his words now. Fine. Lin Chen didn't waste words. He took out 10 gold coins and placed them on the counter. The shopkeeper gave Lin Chen a receipt, which clearly stated the details of the transaction, along with a clause stating the deposit was non-refundable. Lin Chen didn't mind and left the shop after keeping the receipt. Time to grab a meal and buy a couple of outfits. Lin Chen looked at his own clothes, which were full of patches. He felt it was time to do some shopping. He ate 2 bowls of noodles at a roadside stall, then asked for directions and arrived at the clothing street. As expected of the Romance Continent, there are so many beauties. Watching the various beauties passing by on the street, Lin Chen felt deeply emotional inside. Unfortunately, it was useless. After Lin Chen finished buying clothes and came out, the sky had already darkened. He found a hotel to stay in. In the following period, Lin Chen wandered around the city every day. He would call out to whoever he found unpleasant. Because he was often acting like a charlatan, yet his predictions weirdly came true, his reputation gradually spread throughout Niuding City. However, people didn't view him as a bringer of bad luck. Instead, they believed his spirit could see through others' fortunes. Some even approached him voluntarily, wanting him to help tell their fortunes. Lin Chen turned no one away. If they met the criteria, he'd say their forehead was dark and bad luck was coming. If they didn't, he would just spout nonsense and say nice things to deal with them. It's been half a month, why is it all gold coins? That's over 50,000 gold coins already. What the hell is the use of so many gold coins for me? Can't I get some special rewards? Walking on the streets of Niuding City, Lin Chen felt somewhat depressed. The 3 of you, please stay. Turning a corner, he suddenly saw 3 young men wearing Notting Academy uniforms and called out to them without hesitation. The physical development of a spirit master is much faster than that of an ordinary person. By age 11 or 12, they are basically similar to ordinary 15 or 16-year-olds. Hearing the call, Xiao Chenyu's right foot, which he had just lifted, froze in midair. He had long heard of the divine calculator, and they had come out this time to find him, but being called out by him voluntarily was no good thing. According to incomplete statistics, anyone actively called out by the divine calculator was surely about to face bad luck, because he would only call out those whose bad luck was imminent. Ling Feng and Liu Long's mouths twitched, and they felt incredibly depressed inside. The three of them turned around. "Grandmaster, why did you call out to us? Couldn't you have waited for us to call you?" Liu Long said with a long face. Ling Feng and Xiao Chenyu nodded one after another, indicating they agreed with Liu Long. Calamity strike on passerby successful, obtained ultimate technique, Heaven's Thunder Strangling. Good grief, finally a special reward, it sounds pretty powerful. Lin Chen raised an eyebrow. He steadied himself, then said to the three with a serious face, "I observe that the three of you have dark foreheads. I fear you will have a bloody disaster in the near future." Having suddenly triggered an ultimate technique, Lin Chen exaggerated the problem a bit. A bloody disaster. Xiao Chenyu and the other two looked at each other, seeing shock in each other's eyes. What happened to the imminent bad luck? How did it turn into a bloody disaster? Xiao Chenyu asked hurriedly, "Grandmaster, how can this disaster be resolved?" Lin Chen shook his head. "It cannot be resolved, only weakened." Xiao Chenyu hurriedly took a money pouch from his bosom and forced it into Lin Chen's hand. "Please, Grandmaster, give us guidance. There will be a heavy reward afterwards." Lin Chen pushed the money pouch back. Meeting his fate, talking about money is too vulgar. He was the one who brought the disaster. How could he have the face to take any money? Xiao Chenyu felt helpless. Since the other party had said so, what else could he say? "Thank you, Grandmaster." After putting away the money pouch, Xiao Chenyu, along with Liu Long and the other, bowed slightly to him. Lin Chen said, "The timing of bad luck is uncertain, and its severity varies. It is unavoidable. As long as you don't go to dangerous places like the Hunting Soul Forest, your lives will not be in danger." Xiao Chenyu's eyes widened suddenly. He had just broken through to level 10 and was preparing to go hunt for a spirit ring. Ling Feng and Liu Long were also full of surprise. "Thank you for the guidance, Grandmaster." Xiao Chenyu bowed deeply, his expression full of sincerity. It was fortunate they met the Grandmaster today, otherwise the consequences would have been unimaginable. "No matter, the matter here is finished, farewell." Lin Chen cupped his hands slightly and turned to leave, but a shout rang out from behind him. "Grandmaster, my name is Xiao Chenyu, and I am the son of the new Uding City Lord. If there is anything you need, feel free to come to the City Lord's mansion to find me." Lin Chen was stunned. He hadn't expected it to be him. "All right." Lin Chen agreed casually, turned the corner, and called out impatiently in his heart. System, receive the ultimate technique. Chapter 6 Calamity Strike Xiaogang 3. No sooner had Lin Chen's thought landed than a massive wave of information surged into his mind. There was no intense sensation of stimulation. It felt as if that information had always been part of his memory, merely forgotten before and now recalled. Heaven's Thunder Strangling. Agitate the Heavenly Thunder Whip to release countless bolts of heavenly thunder, forming a dense web of lightning to strangle the target. Its power increases with the user's level. Good heavens, a growable ultimate skill. It's truly worthy of being a system product. Lin Chen's eyes shone with a sharp light. With this ultimate skill, combined with his basic whip technique, basic movement technique, and the physique gained from consuming whale glue, he might not need to rely on anyone else for his first spirit ring. In this way, he wouldn't have to worry about the matter of absorbing a spirit ring beyond his limit being exposed. The only difficulty at the moment might be his insufficient knowledge of spirit beasts. After all, the original work only mentioned those few types over and over again. System, I won't say anything about you only giving one special reward in half a month, but now that I've encountered such a major problem, you really need to step up. You wouldn't want your host to fall into danger because of this trivial matter, would you? Lin Chen didn't know if it would work, but he still tentatively threatened it in his heart. It was a case of shooting his shot, just in case. Keep going, I must strive to farm the knowledge of spirit beasts before the whale glue arrives. Lin Chen continued to wander around. On the other side, the moment Xiao Chenyu returned to the Xiao residence, he sought out his father. "Dad, let's put my spirit ring hunt on hold for now." City Lord Zyro looked up, his face full of confusion. Silence was more effective than any question. Zyro Chenyu said, Grandmaster said that I would have a bloody disaster today, and it is not advisable to go to a dangerous place like the Hunting Soul Forest, otherwise my life would be in danger. City Lord Zyro said speechlessly, has your brain been caught in a door? Can you actually believe the words of that good-for-nothing? Since when did he start studying fate? Ahem, Zyro Chenyu coughed dryly. It's not that good-for-nothing Grandmaster in the academy, but the godly diviner Grandmaster, who has suddenly appeared in the city recently. Upon hearing this, City Lord Zyro's expression instantly became serious. He had also heard about the godly diviner, and had even sent people to investigate. The final conclusion was that while the good predictions didn't always come true, the bad ones were spot on. If the godly diviner said you had good luck, it might not be accurate, but if he said you had bad luck, it was guaranteed to be correct. It was just a matter of time. However, compared to the godly diviner, there was another more famous Grandmaster in Notting Academy, so he hadn't immediately associated it with that person. Fine, then let's hold off for now. Upholding the attitude of better to believe it than not, City Lord Zyro agreed. Then I'll go practice. Zyro Chenyu didn't say anything more and turned to leave the study. After leaving the room, he walked under the eaves. Zyro Chenyu seemed to sense something and subconsciously tried to dodge, but unexpectedly, his foot slipped. Bang! The moment Zyro Chenyu fell to the ground, a roof tile fell from the sky, striking him right in the center of his forehead. Damn it, Zyro Chenyu couldn't help but curse under his breath as he sat up, clutching his forehead. He lowered his hand to look, only to find it covered in blood. What happened? Hearing the commotion, City Lord Zyro rushed out of the study instantly. He happened to see the blood on his son's hand. His gaze swept over the tile on the ground, and he looked up at the eaves. Ha ha ha! Just as City Lord Zyro was about to lose his temper, he saw Zyro Chenyu suddenly burst into laughter. What was wrong with this child? Was his brain damaged from the hit? It's broken, it's broken. Zyro Chenyu stood up abruptly and held out his bloody hand for his father to see. Dad, it's broken. I'm not blind, City Lord Zyro glared at him irritably, thinking that the hit must have been quite severe. Zyro Chenyu hurriedly explained, I don't mean my head is broken. Grandmaster said I would have a bloody disaster, and hasn't blood been shed now? Getting my head cracked is better than losing my life in the Hunting Soul Forest, right? City Lord Zyro couldn't help but pause, thinking that it actually made sense. It seems that kid really has some skills. It's a pity that only the bad predictions are accurate, otherwise, I could have asked him to calculate my career prospects. City Lord Zyro couldn't help but shake his head. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Chen had worked hard for half a month, but only obtained some gold coins. He hadn't even caught a glimpse of the spirit beast knowledge he wanted. The whale glue should have arrived by now. It's time to find the shopkeeper and collect the goods. Lin Chen wiped his mouth, paid the bill, and left the breakfast shop. On the way to the adult products shop, his occupational habits suddenly kicked in, all because he saw a familiar face. It was a middle-aged man with a crew cut. He held his hands behind his back. Although he looked slightly decadent, there was an inexplicable air of arrogance between his brows. Lin Chen felt that he looked somewhat like that genius who had only reached level 29 by the age of 50. Uncle, please wait. The moment they brushed past each other, Lin Chen turned around and called out to him. Xiaogang stopped and turned around. He looked Lin Chen up and down, his gaze filled with a sense of condescension. What is it? The moment Xiaogang opened his mouth, a wisp of black energy surged into the center of his forehead. Calamity strike on passerby successful, obtained Spirit Master Encyclopedia knowledge. Good stuff, it's finally here. Lin Chen was overjoyed, but he suppressed the joy in his heart and looked at him. I see that your forehead is dark, uncle. This is a sign that bad luck is imminent. You should keep a close eye on your wallet and pay attention to your surroundings. Upon hearing this, Xiaogang's face instantly darkened. Considering your young age, I, Grandmaster, will not hold this against you. Get lost. After saying this, Xiaogang turned and walked away, looking thoroughly annoyed. Uncle, please wait. Seeing that it was indeed Xiaogang, Lin Chen hurriedly called out to him again. Xiaogang's footsteps paused. He turned around with a sullen face, his eyes becoming dangerous. Are you not done yet? Calamity strike on passerby successful, obtained 246 gold coins. Lin Chen looked innocent. Uncle, I know you don't believe me, but you can go ask around. My heavenly secret divine calculation has never been wrong so far. You really need to be careful. Xiaogang laughed contemptuously upon hearing this. What kind of nonsense, heavenly secret divine calculation? Your little tricks might work on ignorant commoners, but you want to deceive me, the #1 theoretical Grandmaster in the Spirit Master's world. You found the wrong person. I have spent half my life researching spirits, and I have never heard of any spirit that can see through someone's fortune. Besides, if you're going to pretend, at least do it convincingly. You haven't even released your spirit. How can you see someone's fortune? Lin Chen, as expected of Gangzi, he really does have some substance after all. HMPH, seeing that he didn't speak, Xiaogang snorted coldly and turned to walk away again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Uncle, please wait. Xiaogang's footsteps paused and he unconsciously clenched his fists. He turned around, his gaze cold and his tone gloomy. Little brat, do you really want to die? Calamity strike on passerby successful, obtained 157 gold coins. Since you don't believe me, then forget it. Lin Chen knew when to stop while he was ahead and shook his head with feigned helplessness. Chapter 7, The Vulnerable Gangzi. In an empty street corner, Lin Chen received the Spirit Master Knowledge Encyclopedia. The volume of information this time was far greater than when he received the ultimate skills. Precautions for Spirit Master Cultivation, Research and Development of Spirits, Selection and Age Ranges of Spirit Beasts, Spirit Beast Knowledge Encyclopedia. All kinds of knowledge related to Spirit Masters flooded into Lin Chen's mind. It covered every aspect, with absolutely no omissions. At this moment, Lin Chen could also call himself a theoretical Grandmaster, and he was definitely much more reliable than that hack, Xiaogang. After receiving the knowledge, the corners of Lin Chen's mouth curled up involuntarily. The final flaw could finally be considered filled. Come to think of it, I don't seem to have any need to go to Notting Academy anymore. The main purpose of attending school is to learn knowledge and have a teacher help hunt for spirit rings, but he had no such needs now. At the very least, the elementary Spirit Master Academy was no longer worth wasting his cultivation time on. However, his current strength was still very weak, so he didn't dare to wander around. It was better to honestly stay in Newding City to develop for a few years before considering going to a big city. As for attending Notting Academy, Lin Chen revealed a sly smile, then leisurely walked towards the adult goods store. Boss, has my order arrived? It has, it arrived 3 days ago. The boss looked up and seeing it was Lin Chen, hurriedly stood up and came out from behind the counter to greet him. Lin Chen asked, how many years old is it? Hearing this, the boss looked slightly embarrassed, because 10,000-year whale glue has no market. Those spirit masters basically don't intentionally collect it after hunting spirit beasts. Lin Chen waved his hand to interrupt. Just tell me how many years old the one you brought back is. The boss hurriedly said, 6,000 years. As he spoke, he cautiously examined Lin Chen's expression, as if he were afraid the other party wouldn't be satisfied. Although he wouldn't lose money since there was a deposit, earning a little more was always better. 6,000 years, huh? It seems 1,000-year first spirit ring is out of the question, at most 700 or 800 years. It'll have to do. As Lin Chen thought to himself, he took out 50 gold coins and handed them to the boss. I'm picking up the goods. All right. The boss was overjoyed, hurriedly took the gold coins, and turned to go into the back room. Soon he walked out holding a wooden box. Lin Chen took the wooden box and pretended to open it for inspection. In truth, he couldn't distinguish good from bad at all, nor could he tell the age, but some things could be seen from the boss's expression. No problem, I'm off. Lin Chen nodded, not bothering with further pleasantries, and turned to leave. Take care, come back anytime if you need anything else. Lin Chen left the shop, flipped his right hand, and the wooden box in his hand vanished. The system came with built-in storage space. Lin Chen didn't go back to the hotel, but headed straight for the city outskirts. The correct way to consume whale glue is to roast it over a fire. He definitely couldn't start a fire in the hotel room, so he had to go outside the city. Meanwhile, on the other side, having collected his subsidy, Xiaogang walked out of Spirit Hall in a pleasant mood. He prepared to find a place to improve his diet. Although the cafeteria at Notting Academy was free and the taste wasn't bad, it was always the same few things. If his finances allowed, he wouldn't want to eat there at all. Let's go to Huifeng restaurant. Just as Xiaogang was about to leave, he suddenly noticed a wanted poster on the bulletin board. To be precise, he noticed the bounty on the wanted poster. Wanted poster, image Wang Hu's spirit, bloodthirsty blade, level 53 attack system tool Spirit King. Slaughtered over 300 villagers in one village in Balak Kingdom, suspected to have fled into the territory of Fasanua province. Informants will be rewarded with 100 gold coins, captors will be rewarded with 1,000 gold coins, dead or alive. Spirit Hall is truly becoming more and more incompetent, unable to even handle a small Spirit King. Looking at the fierce-looking, burly portrait on the wanted poster, Xiaogang couldn't help but shake his head. It's a pity my strength is insufficient, otherwise if I could kill him, 1,000 gold coins would be enough for me to live comfortably for several years. Xiaogang shook his head again, clasped his hands behind his back, and turned to leave. As he walked, he turned into a small alley. The alley wasn't wide, only about 2 meters, with residential houses on both sides, and crossing this alley would lead to the street where Huifeng restaurant was located. When Xiaogang had walked halfway through the alley, a door on his right happened to open. He looked towards the sound. He saw a mysterious person shrouded in a black robe, wearing a mask on his face, with only his eyes, nose, and mouth exposed to the air, coming into view. At the same time, he smelled a faint scent of blood. It's not good. Just as Xiaogang's vigilance arose, the other party suddenly grabbed towards his throat. The mysterious person's speed was very fast, so fast that just as Xiaogang had the thought of dodging, that iron pincer-like hand had already gripped Xiaogang's throat. Urgh! Xiaogang let out a muffled roar, and his body was uncontrollably dragged into the room. The door closed. Bang! The mysterious person suddenly punched Xiaogang in the abdomen, causing his stomach to churn, and his whole body instantly curled up on the ground like a cooked shrimp. Zlu! Bang! Xiaogang still wanted to release his spirit, but he was kicked in the mouth by the mysterious person's size 42 big foot, forcibly interrupting his spirit power circulation. Bang bangs bang! The mysterious person was the type who was ruthless and sparing with words. He didn't say a word, just kept lifting and dropping his foot. Like a machine without emotion. Don't hit me, I have money, I'll give it all to you. Xiaogang protected his head tightly with both hands. The mysterious person was unmoved, instead increasing the force. Crack, crack. The mysterious person kicked 4 times in succession, successively breaking Xiaogang's 4 limbs. Xiaogang's scream had just begun when the mysterious person kicked his jaw out of joint, and his scream came to an abrupt end. Woo-woo-woo. Xiaogang, with his dislocated jaw, could only emit bursts of whimpering sounds. At this point, the mysterious person stopped. He squatted down and began to search Xiaogang's body. HM. The mysterious person's gaze suddenly locked onto Xiaogang's belt. A glint of light suddenly burst from his eyes. Woo-woo-woo. Seemingly having discerned the mysterious person's intentions, Xiaogang struggled violently. Slap! The mysterious person backhanded him with a slap, knocking out a few of his teeth. I didn't expect that a piece of trash like you would actually have such a good thing. The mysterious person finally spoke, his tone filled with thick mockery. He unbuckled Xiaogang's belt. Woo-woo-woo. Seeing this, Xiaogang's expression instantly turned ferocious. As the mysterious person sneered, he inspected the belt while speaking. It seems you are not only trash, but also very stupid. To still dare to bare your teeth at this point, you really don't know how to write the word death. As soon as his voice fell, a blood-colored long blade suddenly appeared in his hand. 1 white, 2 yellow, and 2 purple spirit rings rose from beneath his feet. Wang Tu. Seeing the other party's spirit and spirit ring configuration, Yu Xiaogang's pupils constricted violently. Chapter 8, Consuming Whale Glue, Hunting Soul Forest. Yu Xiaogang never expected that shortly after seeing the wanted poster for his attacker outside Spirit Hall, he would immediately run right into the attacker's hands. Isn't this just too unlucky? Wait, unlucky. Yu Xiaogang suddenly thought of that little brat and what he had said. The boy had said misfortune was coming. No way is there really a spirit in this world that can see through someone's fortune. Damn it all. You've already blocked me 3 times, why couldn't you have blocked me a few more times? How can a person be so lacking in perseverance? The large saber Wang, who raised, instantly interrupted all of Yu Xiaogang's thoughts. Woo woo woo. Yu Xiaogang whimpered desperately, trying to reveal his identity. Unfortunately, with his jaw dislocated, he couldn't utter a single complete sentence. What are you babbling about? Never mind, it's not important. Rest assured, my blade is very fast, you won't feel too much pain. Wang Hu grinned. Woo woo woo. Yu Xiaogang's limbs were completely shattered. He could only wriggle backward by twisting his waist like a maggot, the whimpering in his mouth never stopping. At this moment, he was completely consumed by fear. The blood-red saber hanging over his head was like the Grim Reaper's scythe. Death was right before his eyes. Wang Hu was about to bring the blade down, but he suddenly turned his head, as if he had sensed something. Damn it, how could they be this fast? The Spirit Hall law enforcement team had been hunting him, but he hadn't expected them to find his tracks so quickly. Wang Hu crouched down abruptly and with 2 clicks, reset Yu Xiaogang's dislocated jaw. Yu Xiaogang. Before Yu Xiaogang could recover, Wang Hu slashed off one of his arms with a single stroke. Unable to bear the pain, Yu Xiaogang immediately let out a miserable scream. Wang Hu hurriedly rushed out of the courtyard and fled the scene. The reason he had been able to break through the encirclement several times was by using the wounded to delay some members of the law enforcement team. Who told them to be so kind-hearted? Just as Wang Hu left, 5 people arrived upon hearing the sound. Damn it, this trick again. Number 5, you stay behind to help the wounded, everyone else follow me. The leader dropped this sentence and chased after him with 4 others, leaving 1 person behind, who looked helplessly at Yu Xiaogang, who was screaming incessantly on the ground. What the hell are you standing there for? Hurry up and take me for medical treatment. If it's too late, my arm won't be reattached. Can you bear the consequences? Yu Xiaogang roared, forcing himself to endure the pain. Number 5 frowned, and his eyes became dangerous. He really didn't want to save this kind of person. Maybe he should just kill him and pin the blame on Wang Hu. What are you looking at? My name is Yu Xiaogang, son of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect Master, Yu Yuanzhen, and I have a deep friendship with your Supreme Pontiff Bibi Dong. I'm telling you, if I die here, even if you had 10 lives, it wouldn't be enough to pay for it. Every single one of you will have to pay with your lives. Yu Xiaogang's brow was covered in cold sweat, but his threats were full of vigor. Number 5's pupils couldn't help but constrict. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant. The son of Yu Yuanzhen and a close friend of the Supreme Pontiff were not titles anyone dared to impersonate. At this point, Number 5 dared not harbor any bad intentions. He immediately picked up Yu Xiaogang's arm, picked up Yu Xiaogang, and rushed out of the courtyard. After leaving the city, Lin Chen found an uninhabited grove outside. He gathered some dry firewood and lit a fire. Then he took out the iron tongs he had prepared, picked up the whale glue, and began to roast it over the fire. To facilitate storage, whale glue is usually air-dried, looking like a piece of plastic, but as it roasted under high heat, it gradually showed signs of softening. Moreover, a strange fragrance gradually began to diffuse. Just by smelling that fragrance, Lin Chen felt his body temperature gradually rising, and a few beads of sweat began to appear on his skin. However, that was all. There were no urges of that nature. After all, he was only 6 years old this year, and his body was not yet fully developed. Soon, the whale glue completely softened, looking like a piece of jelly. Lin Chen immediately took out a small knife, cut off a piece, and threw it into his mouth. SSS ha, SSS ha. He chewed a few times with a grimace, then forcibly swallowed it. After repeating this several times, the entire piece of whale glue was quickly swallowed into his stomach. Lin Chen hurriedly sat cross-legged and began to circulate his cultivation technique to refine the medicinal properties of the whale glue. Warm energy surged from his abdomen and then spread toward his limbs and bones. That energy constantly tempered his physique, and Lin Chen could clearly feel his physical strength rapidly rising. At the same time, his body temperature kept rising, making him feel as if he were in a furnace. However, apart from being a bit hot, there were no other reactions. Time passed bit by bit, and the medicinal effect of the whale glue gradually began to weaken, until it completely disappeared. Open panel. Lin Chen moved his mind, and the attribute panel suddenly appeared before his eyes. Name Lin Chen. Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip. Level 10. Spirit 10. Physique 23. Cultivation technique, click to expand. It's about what I expected. A 700 or 800 year spirit ring shouldn't be a problem. Looking at his physical strength, Lin Chen muttered to himself. Next is the issue of the permit, or I could go directly to the Stardew Great Forest. The Hunting Soul Forest is not a place you can enter just because you want to. You need to show various levels of Spirit Hall tokens, or a Hunting Soul permit issued by the nobility of various countries. Lin Chen thought of Xiao Chenyu. The other party had said that if he needed anything, he could go find him. A permit wouldn't be a difficult thing to get. However, the variety of spirit beasts in the Hunting Soul Forest is not large, and high-quality spirit beasts are extremely rare. The variety of spirit beasts in the Stardew Great Forest is indeed greater, but the danger is also much higher. Danger doesn't just come from spirit beasts. Humans can sometimes be even more dangerous than spirit beasts. The Hunting Soul Forest at least has troops patrolling, so ordinary people don't dare to mess around inside, whereas once you enter the Stardew Great Forest, you can only leave your fate to the heavens. Forget it, my life is more important. Lin Chen pondered for a moment and decided to try the Hunting Soul Forest first. If that didn't work out, it wouldn't be too late to go to the Stardew Great Forest. After all, he had plenty of time, but he only had one life. It's better to be cautious. Lin Chen extinguished the fire completely and then returned to Niuding City. After entering the city, he went straight to the city lord's mansion. Xiao Chenyu was not at home, but he seemed to have told the guards at home. As soon as they heard Lin Chen was that divine fortune teller, they immediately brought him before the city lord. City Lord Xiao was very enthusiastic, and even said he would send people to help him hunt for a spirit ring. However, Lin Chen politely declined, saying he had already found helpers. Seeing this, the other party had no choice but to drop the matter, but still kept him for lunch at the Xiao residence. It was also during the meal that Lin Chen learned that Xiao Chenyu had already seen blood. After lunch, City Lord Xiao helped him issue a Hunting Soul permit. Lin Chen came out of the Xiao residence and boarded a carriage heading to the Hunting Soul Forest. Chapter 9, 800-Year Dark Blue Thunder Python. Little friend, are you here all alone? Where are your adults? Hunting Soul Forest at the entrance. After checking the Hunting Soul warrant, the guard looked at Lin Chen with a face full of confusion. A 6 or 7-year-old child entering the Hunting Soul Forest alone. Are you kidding me? Do you think this is a shopping mall where you can come and go as you please? Lin Chen smiled and said, they are in the shadows. Upon hearing this, the guard suddenly realized, but at the same time he felt speechless. They are truly daring. He is only so young, there is no need to temper a child like this. What if the rescue isn't timely? Forget it, why think so much? It's not his own child anyway. If something really happens, there will be a time for them to cry. Go in. The guard stepped aside, and Lin Chen successfully entered the Hunting Soul Forest. Upon entering the Hunting Soul Forest, Lin Chen felt as if he had walked into a primeval forest. Towering trees blocked the sunlight, and the light was significantly dimmer, as if dusk had arrived. Soon Lin Chen encountered his first spirit beast. It was an armored lizard, no more than half a meter long. Red Earth Lizard, an Earth attribute defensive spirit beast, about 20 years old. The moment Lin Chen saw it, he judged its general condition, simply because the Spirit Beast Encyclopedia not only contained the characteristics of various spirit beasts, but also 3D images. It was as if Lin Chen had personally seen all the spirit beasts in the Spirit Beast Encyclopedia. There was no need to cross-reference, he could recognize them at a glance. Lin Chen ignored the Red Earth Lizard and continued walking into the depths of the jungle on his own. There were quite a few spirit beasts in the Hunting Soul Forest, but they were not of high quality. Along the way, Lin Chen saw many strange and peculiar spirit beasts. Although they were all in the Spirit Beast Encyclopedia, actually encountering them still felt novel, perhaps the difference between monsters in movies and encountering them in reality. Soon Lin Chen entered the core area. The Hunting Soul Forest was not comparable to the Stardew Great Forest or other places where spirit beasts gathered. 100-year spirit beasts were the overlords here, and 1000-year spirit beasts were extremely rare. After entering the core area, Lin Chen gradually became more cautious. After all, his strength was fine for one-on-one fights, but if he encountered a group of 100-year spirit beasts and couldn't escape, he would just have to die in front of them. Just as Lin Chen was walking, his footsteps suddenly paused, and he subconsciously released his spirit. The moment the heavenly thunder whip was in his hand, a violent aura of thunder suddenly permeated the air. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, the sound of breaking air suddenly rang out from behind him to the right. Along with it came a foul wind. Lin Chen listened to the sound to determine the position, and the heavenly thunder whip in his hand moved like an extension of his arm, whipping towards the right rear like a swimming dragon, striking the raiding spirit beast perfectly. Crack! Raw! As the explosive sound rang out, so did the miserable scream of a beast. Lin Chen turned around and finally saw the attacking spirit beast clearly. It was a black panther over 3 meters long. There was a bloody scar on its right face, and the fur around the scar looked as if it had been burned by fire, with a charred smell. Shadow panther, about 400 years old. Lin Chen instantly judged its information. Unfortunately, neither its attribute nor its age was suitable. Raw! The shadow panther stared covetously at Lin Chen, packing around, but did not dare to advance, showing that the whip strike just now had put significant pressure on it. Scram! As Lin Chen shouted sternly, he flicked his wrist, and the heavenly thunder whip lashed out in the air, erupting with an explosive sound. He wanted to scare it away with this. After all, his overall strength might not be weak, but his spirit power level was a fatal weakness, and the consumption of his state would increase the danger. Who knew that the beast not only did not appreciate it, but instead thought Lin Chen was afraid of it. It kicked its hind legs, and its figure instantly charged out. You're courting death. As Lin Chen retreated, the heavenly thunder whip in his hand swept out. It was not a whip, but a coil. The length of the heavenly thunder whip continued to increase, like a long, thin giant python, winding towards the shadow panther's body with lightning speed. The shadow panther was an agility-type spirit beast, with high speed and reaction. It jumped to the left and easily dodged it. Just at this moment, Lin Chen flicked his wrist, changing the momentum of the heavenly thunder whip, and the whip body suddenly lashed towards the direction where the shadow panther was dodging. Crack! The heavenly thunder whip landed on the shadow panther, instantly splitting its skin and flesh. Raw! The shadow panther felt the pain and let out a miserable cry, wanting to retreat and find another opportunity. However, Lin Chen did not intend to give it a chance. He churned his wrist holding the whip, and the heavenly thunder whip struck towards the shadow panther like a whirlpool. Streaks of purple thunder wove into a purple thunder net, sweeping towards the shadow panther. The coverage of the thunder net was very large, so large that the shadow panther could not rush out of the range in time. Crackle! The thunder net shrouded the shadow panther, instantly electrocuting its body straight. It was like a sculpture falling straight to the ground. Lin Chen flicked his wrist, and the heavenly thunder whip swept out again, the sharp whip tail like a scorpion tail, accurately pierced the shadow panther's eye. Puff! The whip tail pierced through the shadow panther's head, ending its life. Hum! A bright yellow spirit ring rose from the corpse of the shadow panther. 1/3, huh? Lin Chen felt the spirit power in his body and found that 1/3 of his spirit power had been consumed, which meant he could use Heaven's Thunder Strangling 3 times in his peak state. Not bad, the consumption was much lower than he had expected. Lin Chen put away his spirit and turned to leave. The difficulty of hunting a spirit ring is not in the hunting, but in the searching. It is not an easy task to find a spirit beast in the vast spirit beast forest that perfectly matches one's own attributes and age, especially in the hunting soul forest. The types of spirit beasts here are too few, and most of them are not of high quality. Lin Chen spent 3 whole days searching. During these 3 days, he encountered several spirit beast attacks, and even encountered group-dwelling spirit beasts, but fortunately in the end, it was just a close call. He did encounter some thunder attribute spirit beasts, but either the quality was not good enough, or the age was not enough. In any case, he didn't encounter any that were a perfect match. Just when he was thinking about whether to go to the Stardew Great Forest, things took a turn for the better. Lin Chen stood on the branch of a large tree, looking out at the open space in the distance. There was a spirit beast in that open space. It was a giant python over 8 meters long, covered in dark blue scales, looking slightly bloated, and it was lying on the grass sunbathing. Dark blue thunder python, a thunder attribute spirit beast with a trace of thunder dragon bloodline flowing in its body. For spirit beasts on the Douluo Continent, as long as they can be associated with dragons, even if they only have a trace of bloodline, their quality is top-notch, at least high-grade. And for a dark blue thunder python under 1,000 years old, it grows 1 meter every 100 years. An 8-meter-long dark blue thunder python is exactly around 800 years old. Whether in terms of age or quality, the dark blue thunder python perfectly met Lin Chen's requirements. It was just very difficult to hunt it. Although the dark blue thunder python's speed was not fast, its defense and thunder resistance were both very high. It would not be an easy task for Lin Chen to break through its defense. Not to mention that a 100-year level dark blue thunder python also had a very powerful spirit ability. Chapter 10: The Food Guarding Big Kitty. Since a one-on-one fight is risky, I should find a way to wear it down first. Lin Chen jumped down from the large tree and turned to leave. Soon he arrived outside a cave littered with bones. Oi tilde! Lin Chen stood far away and shouted towards the pitch-black cave. Awu tilde! A low but extremely piercing tiger roar emanated from the cave. Following that, a one-eyed white tiger walked out. It was a white tiger over 3 meters long, with an age of over 700 years. Its blinded eye was a fresh injury, and the fur around the wound at the corner of its eye was still charred, clearly having suffered high-temperature scorching. That's right, it was Lin Chen's doing. Awu tilde! Upon seeing Lin Chen, the white tiger seemed to see its father's killer. After letting out a low growl, it charged straight at Lin Chen. Lin Chen turned and ran. Spirit beasts are generally a cut above the spirit masters, who can withstand their spirit rings. In other words, a 700-year-old white tiger is at least equivalent to a high-level spirit grandmaster. And the white tiger is an all-around feline spirit beast, so its speed is naturally not slow. However, Lin Chen is not an ordinary spirit scholar. His physique had long since broken through to the spirit grandmaster level, and physique represents more than just strength. Speed, agility, and the like all increase with the growth of one's physique. Lin Chen sped through the forest, while the white tiger trailed closely behind him. It wasn't that Lin Chen was intentionally leading it on. He truly couldn't shake it off, and even maintaining enough distance to avoid being caught proved extremely difficult. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Seeing that he was about to be caught by the white tiger, Lin Chen suddenly lashed out with the heavenly thunder whip in his hand, binding it to the branch of a large tree. The heavenly thunder whip retracted, pulling Lin Chen's body off the ground. Awu tilde! The white tiger looked up, letting out an angry roar at Lin Chen in the tree. Lin Chen whipped it with a backhand strike. Crack! Although the white tiger successfully dodged it, the entire tiger immediately became even more irritable. Awu tilde. The heavenly thunder whip lashed out, binding to the branch of a distant tree. Lin Chen swung down. Awu tilde. The white tiger roared and chased after him, looking like it wouldn't stop until it bit Lin Chen to death. Big Ketty, you're not very good at this. While fleeing, Lin Chen provoked it, stopping from time to time to lash it with his whip, afraid that it might suddenly turn around and stop chasing. Awu tilde. After chasing for a while, the white tiger suddenly braked. It paced back and forth, letting out low growls from its mouth, seemingly unwilling but afraid to continue the pursuit. Lin Chen knew that this was the territorial instinct of spirit beasts at work. The white tiger knew this was the territory of the dark blue thunder python. And judging by its cowardly appearance, it likely couldn't defeat the dark blue thunder python. Crack! The heavenly thunder whip let out a sonic boom in the air as it lashed straight toward the white tiger. The white tiger dodged to the right. But unexpectedly, Lin Chen flicked his wrist, and the whip instantly changed direction. Crack! The whip struck the white tiger's neck. Even it couldn't block the damage from the heavenly thunder whip, and a bloody gash was instantly whipped into its skin. Awu tilde. With its fiery temper, the white tiger couldn't take it anymore. It bared its fangs and snarled, rushing into the territory of the dark blue thunder python and lunging straight at Lin Chen. Lin Chen didn't rush to escape, instead tangling with it for a moment. Then he feigned defeat and continued to flee. The white tiger, having lost its head, no longer cared about any thunder python or not. It was determined to kill that two-legged beast no matter what. Seeing that the distance was about right, Lin Chen began to run forward with all his might. He no longer relied on trees to dodge. Seeing this, the white tiger couldn't help but speed up. It was about to rush into the clearing. Lin Chen flicked his right hand, and the heavenly thunder whip shot into the sky, binding around the trunk of a large tree and pulling his body off the ground. Although the white tiger braked in time, its momentum couldn't be stopped, and it slid into the clearing. Raw! The dark blue thunder python had long since heard the commotion. Seeing that the invading enemy was a white tiger, it let out a dragon-like roar and instantly charged toward the white tiger. The dark blue thunder python's speed wasn't fast, but it didn't matter since the distance was so short. When the white tiger braked, it had nowhere to run. At the critical moment, the white tiger stopped being cowardly and roared as it charged toward the dark blue thunder python. The great battle was about to break out. Relying on its agile frame, the white tiger leaped to dodge the thunder python's attack, then stepped on its head and bit down hard on its 7-inch mark. However, it couldn't bite through the dark blue thunder python's hard scales at all, and instead, it was nearly wrapped up by the giant tail the opponent swung over. Fortunately, it retreated in time. Lin Chen stood on a tree trunk, holding the heavenly thunder whip, overlooking the dragon and tiger fight not far away. The battle wasn't intense, instead, it was somewhat boring. The dark blue thunder python's speed and agility were inferior to the white tiger's, and the white tiger couldn't break through the dark blue thunder python's defense. The two were in a stalemate where neither could do anything to the other. At least for now. But as the dark blue thunder python flew into a rage, the situation soon changed. Roar tilde. A dragon-like roar came from the dark blue thunder python's mouth, and wisps of blue thunder gathered inside, with a terrifying power suddenly sweeping out. The white tiger had clearly suffered from that before, and immediately turned to run. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The tornado-like heavenly thunder whip tore through the air, followed by a purple thunder net that instantly covered the dark blue thunder python. Crackle, crackle. The purple thunder crackled on the dark blue thunder python, causing the thunder power it had just gathered to instantly dissipate into nothingness. Under the erosion of the purple thunder, its body became somewhat stiff, though it didn't suffer too serious damage. The white tiger, which had been preparing to flee, suddenly felt that its opportunity had come. It immediately turned back and charged toward the dark blue thunder python. It pushed off with its hind legs, its massive body leaping over 3 meters high, and it stomped toward the dark blue thunder python's 7-inch mark like a meteorite falling from the sky. Brute force could bypass the scales and transmit the damage directly into the body. The dark blue thunder python was hard controlled and couldn't dodge at all. This beast is actually quite smart. Seeing this scene, Lin Chen felt surprised and secretly impressed at the same time. Bang! The white tiger's massive body landed heavily on the dark blue thunder python's 7-inch mark. Snap! A crisp sound of bone cracking rang out, and the dark blue thunder python instantly opened its mouth wide. Crack! The heavenly thunder whip let out a sonic boom in the air, and the tip of the whip accurately struck into its mouth. Patang! The lower jaw, lacking the protection of scales, was instantly pierced through by the sharp tail of the whip. Come here! Lin Chen gave a hard tug, and the dark blue thunder python's massive body was instantly yanked into the air. Snap! Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Perhaps unable to bear the immense force, or because the lower jaw had been pierced, the lower jaw of the dark blue thunder python was actually ripped off. However, only the jawbone broke, the hide did not tear as a result. Ow! With a low growl, the white tiger slammed its paws onto the dark blue thunder python's head, pinning it firmly underneath, looking exactly like a cat guarding its food. Heaven's thunder strangling! As Lin Chen shouted sharply, he flicked his wrist, and the purple thunder net condensed once more with the swirling of the heavenly thunder whip, covering both the white tiger and the dark blue thunder python simultaneously. Chapter 11, As expected of the Child of Fortune. The white tiger felt a fatal threat from that purple thunder net. Like a startled cat, its massive body suddenly bounded backward. Unfortunately, the thunder net fell too quickly, and its coverage area was too vast. The white tiger simply couldn't rush out of the thunder net's range in an instant. Crackle, crackle. Arcs of purple lightning, like swimming dragons, surged across the two beasts. The white tiger's body suddenly stiffened, looking extremely rigid. Although the dark blue thunder python had high lightning resistance, it couldn't withstand the purple lightning invading its body through its mouth. A burnt stench suddenly began to spread. A bright yellow spirit ring floated up from the corpse of the dark blue thunder python. Lin Chen leaped down from the tree trunk. While still in midair, the heavenly thunder whip in his hand swept out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The heavenly thunder whip wrapped around the white tiger's front leg. Landing on the ground, Lin Chen pulled hard. Bang! The white tiger's massive body was instantly pulled over a dozen meters away by him. Patang! The sharp tip of the whip entered through the white tiger's eye socket and pierced its brain, and a bright yellow spirit ring emerged from its corpse as well. Lin Chen didn't dare to let the hostile white tiger leave alive. After all, he would be completely defenseless while absorbing the spirit ring. Pulling it aside was merely to avoid absorbing the wrong spirit ring. Lin Chen scanned his surroundings. A 700 to 800 year spirit beast was already a king-level existence in this hunting soul forest, and the dark blue thunder python was an outstanding figure among them. This was easy to see from how the white tiger had stopped at the edge of the dark blue thunder python's territory when chasing him. Even a 700-year-plus white tiger didn't dare to lightly step into the dark blue thunder python's territory, so other spirit beasts certainly wouldn't have the courage. Lin Chen walked up to the corpse of the dark blue thunder python. Looking at its bright yellow spirit ring, a smile couldn't help but appear on his face. Come, my first spirit ring. Lin Chen sat cross-legged, getting the yellow spirit ring closer to himself. Buzz! When the yellow spirit ring flew over his head, it shrank violently, then enveloped him with lightning speed. Along with the spirit ring came a massive sense of pressure. That crushing pressure was terrifying. For any other level 10 spirit scholar, their bones would probably be instantly ground to complete dust. Fortunately, Lin Chen was no ordinary spirit scholar. Even so, his bones creaked under the immense pressure. However, it did not exceed his limit. After an unknown amount of time, the crushing pressure gradually dissipated into nothingness. The yellow spirit ring gradually calmed down, beginning to pulse rhythmically up and down Lin Chen's body. At this moment, Lin Chen felt as if something had shattered inside him. Surging spirit power welled up immediately, Lin Chen hurriedly circulated his cultivation technique, refining that spirit power into his own. During the process of refining the spirit power, he also received information about his first spirit ability. Heavenly Thunder Dragon Elephant increases lightning attribute intensity by 200% and physical strength by 100%, lasting for half an hour. As expected of a dragon-type spirit beast, the amplification ratio is simply too exaggerated. And it's only around 800 years old. As the last trace of spirit power was refined, Lin Chen's absorption of the spirit ring was complete. The most ridiculous thing about the Douluo Continent is that even spirit masters themselves don't know exactly what level they are. They have to go through testing to find out their specific level. Open panel. With a thought from Lin Chen, an attribute panel materialized in the empty air before him. Name Lin Chen. Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip. Level 12. Mind 12. Physique 25. Cultivation techniques and secret arts, click to expand. An 800-year first ring only brought Lin Chen 2 levels of spirit power. This was not beyond his expectations. Tang San's 10,000-year fourth ring similarly only brought him 2 levels of spirit power. As for being level 12 upon getting his first ring, the 3 months between awakening his spirit and the start of school was enough for him to cultivate 1 level of spirit power. Time to leave. Lin Chen stood up and walked toward the exit of the Hunting Soul Forest without looking back. A human's life in this world is like a white horse passing a crevice, but a fleeting moment. 2 months flashed by in an instant. In his hotel room, Lin Chen opened his eyes, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. Level 13. If Tang San could do it, there was naturally no reason he couldn't. Time to go to Notting Academy. Compared to bringing disaster to strangers, he still preferred to bring disaster to Tang San and his master. There was no particular reason. He simply disliked the master and disciple duo. After all, what difference did it make who he brought disaster to? However, there was a prerequisite. The academy had to allow him to skip classes. He didn't want to waste his cultivation time on such trivial matters. It shouldn't be too big of a problem. Who would refuse to have one more graduate with innate full spirit power in their academy? That was a living advertisement, after all. Lin Chen checked out of his room, left the hotel, and headed straight to Notting Academy. He was in no hurry to enter. It wasn't because he wanted to witness some famous scene, but because he was waiting for old Jack. One must know gratitude. He had survived until now entirely thanks to the relief of the villagers. Now that he had made it, how could he not show some appreciation? It was only because he had no plausible explanation for having money back then. Otherwise, he would have given it to them when he left. Since Lin Chen had timed his arrival, he didn't have to wait long. Grandpa Jack. Seeing old Jack and Tang San from afar, Lin Chen hurriedly went up to greet them. Xiao Chen. Old Jack sized Lin Chen up, his eyes filled with disbelief. His changes over these past 3 months were simply too great, weren't they? Not only was he dressed like a noble, but he was also fair-skinned and had grown quite a bit taller. If Lin Chen hadn't taken the initiative to speak, old Jack wouldn't have even dared to recognize him. Tang San's eyes were also filled with surprise. In just 3 short months, not a single trace of a country bumpkin could be seen on the other party. Anyone who didn't know better would think he was of noble birth. Lin Chen glanced at the space between Tang San's brows. Good grief, it's been 3 months and the bad luck still hasn't erupted. I can only say he's truly worthy of being the child of fortune. Even bad luck has to pool together for a big explosion. Lin Chen exchanged a few brief pleasantries with the two of them, then pulled old Jack to the side. Grandpa Jack, please take this. He took out a money bag he had prepared long ago and handed it to old Jack. What are you doing? Lin Chen directly interrupted him. Grandpa Jack, I'm not short of money now. This isn't all for you either. Take it back and distribute it among everyone. If it weren't for everyone's relief, I would have probably starved to death long ago. Now that I have the ability, I naturally need to repay everyone for raising me. All right then, you really are a good child. Seeing that he had put it this way, old Jack found it hard to refuse any further. Looking at the gratified smile on his face, Lin Chen smiled along. Leave Tang San to me, you should head back first. Lin Chen had no intention of treating him to a meal or keeping him in the city for the night. Since he was carrying so many gold coins, it was better for him to return to the village as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the wealth was exposed, as an ordinary person, he might end up in mortal danger. All right with you leading him, Grandpa is at ease. Since Lin Chen could make so much money in 3 months, old Jack naturally had nothing to worry about. Chapter 12, The Docile Xiaogang. Lin Chen and Tang San watched as old Jack disappeared from view. Let's go, I'll take you to register. Lin Chen was in no rush to use Calamity Strike, primarily because there wasn't a good opportunity. He couldn't just deliberately run behind him and shout, could he? Lin Chen, in just 3 short months, how have you changed into a completely different person? Tang San asked. Lin Chen smiled slightly. Money nourishes a person. Earn a bit more money and naturally you'll change. Tang San was full of shock. He was only 6 years old. What methods could a 6-year-old child possibly have to earn money? How did you earn it? Tang San was thinking that he also needed money, so he wanted to learn from the other party. Lin Chen's footsteps suddenly halted. Tang San looked at him from the side, only to see him staring somewhere. Looking in the direction of his gaze, he saw a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 50s walking towards them. That man was very strange. He looked quite decadent, yet between his brows there was a trace of inexplicable arrogance. He had one hand behind his back, while the other hung naturally at his side, appearing somewhat stiff, as if it were a prosthetic limb. The person approaching was none other than Xiaogang. Upon arriving close by, Xiaogang stared intensely at Lin Chen, as if he wished to swallow him alive. Why didn't you stop me a few more times back then? Do you know what price I paid? Xiaogang's tone was extremely low. Niuding City was not large, and there were no particularly outstanding healing soul masters. This resulted in, although his arm had been reattached, it was merely reattached. Its flexibility was far worse than before. While it wasn't completely useless, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say it was half crippled. By comparison, having his spirit tool stolen by Wang, who didn't seem like much anymore. Lin Chen rolled his eyes at him. Do I owe you something? Besides, it is said that things should not happen more than 3 times. I only stopped you 3 times, and you were already acting as if you wanted to kill me. How could I dare to continue stopping you? Isn't this something you brought upon yourself? He truly hadn't expected that a person could be so shameless to this extent. Rather than blaming him for not stopping him a few more times, it would be more appropriate to blame himself for being a harbinger of disaster, saying that he brought bad luck to him. Xiaogang was furious, his old face flushed red, yet he had no way to refute it. HMPH. Somewhat unable to save face, Xiaogang snorted coldly and was about to leave. Uncle, please wait. Lin Chen naturally wouldn't let this opportunity pass, and immediately called out to stop him. Hearing that familiar shout, Xiaogang's body suddenly stiffened. It couldn't be right. It shouldn't be, I just had a run of terrible luck. How could more bad luck follow immediately? He must have something else. Xiaogang's expression changed wildly, and his mood became inexplicably nervous. He turned around and asked cautiously, Do you have something? At this moment, where was there any trace of anger on Xiaogang's face? Calamity Strike on Xiaogang successful, obtained 320 gold coins. Tang San blinked, feeling a bit bewildered. The other party was clearly furious just a moment ago. How, in the time it took to turn around, did he inexplicably become so docile? That's right, docile. Tang San really couldn't find any other adjective, only docile was fitting. Lin Chen said, Don't say I didn't warn you. Although your previous bad luck has been broken, now new bad luck is approaching. What? Xiaogang's eyes widened in anger. as if he were a cat that had been startled. What kind of joke is this? I just had a run of terrible luck, and you're telling me more bad luck is coming. How can there be such an unlucky person in the world? Xiaogang was trembling with agitation, his expression becoming ferocious. Lin Chen spread his hands. See, I told you, but you didn't believe me. After you have bad luck, you'll come back to blame me for not warning you. Xiaogang was instantly speechless, inexplicably recalling the scene of being tortured by Wang Hu. He couldn't help but shudder. Having suffered once, one must absolutely not fall into the same pit a second time. Better to believe it exists than to believe it doesn't. Tang San looked at Lin Chen, completely bewildered, thinking, can he also tell fortunes? Moreover, combined with the previous conversation, it seemed Lin Chen had already predicted it correctly once. Xiaogang looked at Lin Chen. Is there a way to break this bad luck? Lin Chen shook his head. No, you can only be careful yourself. Xiaogang couldn't help but rebuke angrily. Then why the hell are you saying anything? Lin Chen wasn't angry. Instead, a faint smile hung on his face. A warning is for prevention. With preparation, a death calamity might turn into a bloody disaster, and a bloody disaster might turn into a failure, and vice versa. Since you don't like to listen, I won't warn you in the future. Upon hearing this, Xiaogang opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Thanks. After holding it in for a moment, Xiaogang finally spat out these two words with a sullen face. Lin Chen smiled. You're welcome. Are you here to attend school? Xiaogang suddenly caught sight of the work-study student certificate in Tang San's hand. A sharp light suddenly burst from the depths of his eyes. A spirit that can see through others' fortune must not be of poor quality. And according to his research, innate soul power is directly proportional to spirit quality. The other party's talent absolutely cannot be low. It's not impossible that he even has innate full spirit power. Tang San noticed Xiaogang's gaze and immediately handed over the work-study student certificate. Yes, are you a teacher at Notting Academy? Lin Chen. It connected even like this. Is this the bond between master and disciple? I am not a teacher, I am just a passerby here, freeloading on food and drink. As Xiaogang spoke, he took the certificate. Lin Chen couldn't help but complain in his heart. You actually know you're freeloading on food and drink. Clearly you have the ability, yet you are unwilling to help do things within your power. Having a friend like you is truly a lifetime of bad luck. When Xiaogang saw the information on the certificate, his eyes brightened again. Blue-silver grass with innate full spirit power. As mentioned before, the quality of blue-silver grass cannot support innate full spirit power. This Tang San just happens to have innate full spirit power. In this situation, there is only one possibility left, which is that he has another spirit. Twin spirits. Heavens, that is the third case of twin spirits in the history of Douluo Continent. He actually encountered it. If he could take Tang San as a disciple, becoming famous would be just around the corner. As long as one with twin spirits doesn't slack off, becoming a titled Douluo is almost a certainty. Just adding spirit rings to the second spirit could force him up there. Moreover, he could completely use the other party's first trash spirit for trial and error. To practice his own theories. A trash spirit like blue-silver grass, what does it matter if it is ruined during testing? Anyway, he still has a second spirit. When Tang San achieves the rank of titled Douluo, his name will naturally spread across the continent, along with him. Could it be that after extreme adversity comes prosperity? If a run of bad luck could be exchanged for a genius disciple, then he would be willing to have bad luck every day. Chapter 13, Xiaogang's Delusions. Xiaogang took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the excitement in his heart. He looked at Lin Chen. What about yours? Twin spirits plus a genius with suspected innate full spirit power. Xiaogang was finally going to take off. Lin Chen retorted impatiently, You're just a passerby looking for a free meal, why do you care so much? Besides, do I look like someone who needs to be a work-study student? Yu Xiaogang's expression stiffened involuntarily. This damned brat, does he know anything about manners? Does he not know that you shouldn't slap someone in the face? It seems it's time to reveal my identity, otherwise he'll really mistake me for a piece of trash. That wouldn't be conducive to me taking on disciples. Although I am not a teacher at Notting Academy, I have made some modest achievements in the field of spirit master theory research, so everyone respectfully addresses me as Grandmaster. Yu Xiaogang puffed out his chest and held his head high, subconsciously putting the hand holding the work-study student certificate behind his back. His other hand moved, but in the end, it couldn't be placed behind his back. His arrogant expression appeared somewhat comical. A theory Grandmaster. Tang San's eyes were filled with joy. His spirit had inexplicably shattered, and he just happened to need such a Grandmaster to help him repair his shattered spirit. He just didn't know if this Grandmaster before him had that ability. Tang San's joy was completely seen by Yu Xiaogang, which immediately satisfied his vanity to a great extent. However, when he saw Lin Chen's unmoved expression, his mood became somewhat depressed again. What's wrong with this brat? Doesn't he know the true value of a theory Grandmaster? Lin Chen smiled and introduced himself. My name is Lin Chen, because I have made some achievements in fortune-telling. Everyone also respectfully addresses me as Grandmaster. Tang San. Shouldn't Grandmaster be an honorary title for the most authoritative person in a certain field? Hearing Lin Chen put it that way, why did he feel that this so-called Grandmaster was a bit watery? Tang San suddenly thought of Su Yuntao. Old Jack's respectful address to Su Yuntao back then was also Grandmaster. It really didn't seem to have much value. Yu Xiaogang heard Lin Chen's words and was immediately triggered. He had worked so hard, telling everyone he met that people called him Grandmaster. For this, he had even discarded his own name. Yet the other party had easily obtained the same honor in just a few short months. How could Yu Xiaogang not be triggered by this? Can that bullshit Grandmaster of yours be mentioned in the same breath as my theory Grandmaster title? Yu Xiaogang glared at Lin Chen, gritting his teeth. Whatever, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you here. Lin Chen started walking away. He had already wasted too much time on Yu Xiaogang. If he kept talking, he didn't know when it would end. Moreover, he was afraid that the agitated Yu Xiaogang would use Tang San's twin spirits to prove himself. Although that theory was complete nonsense, once Tang San's twin spirits were exposed, Tang Hao, who was watching from the shadows, might develop murderous intent towards him. Yu Xiaogang was furious, his arm pointing at Lin Chen, trembling uncontrollably. Grandmaster, my certificate. Tang San wasn't sure about the true value of the Grandmaster before him, so he planned to wait and see and ask around before making a decision. After all, Dad had said that he must never easily tell others about his second spirit. You wait here, I have something to tell you. Hearing this, Yu Xiaogang had to forcefully suppress the nameless rage in his heart. That brat Lin Chen didn't look easy to fool. He would think of a way later. The priority was to secure Tang San and his twin spirits. Tang San frowned slightly, but he didn't refuse. He was also very curious about what this Grandmaster wanted to say to him. Seeing that Tang San didn't follow, Lin Chen knew that Yu Xiaogang was about to start his con-man mode, so he had no intention of urging or waiting for Tang San. He and Tang San had been talking to the Grandmaster for so long that the gatekeeper naturally didn't dare to stop him. There wasn't even any intention to ask a single question. Notting Academy wasn't very big. One could almost take in all the buildings at a glance. Soon, he arrived at the dean's office, located below the teaching building. Lin Chen said half-truthfully, "Hello, Director. My name is Lin Chen, Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip, innate full spirit power, level 11, one-ring tool spirit master." What? Director Su looked at him, completely bewildered, suspecting that he had misheard. Innate full spirit power. Level 11, one ring. What kind of joke is this? Why would a genius like this come to the Notting Academy instead of joining Spirit Hall? Moreover, the graduation requirement for a Junior Spirit Master Academy is level 11, 1 ring. He already meets the graduation requirements. Why is he here to attend school? Even if he didn't want to join Spirit Hall, he could have gone directly to an Intermediate Spirit Master Academy. The curriculum at a Junior Spirit Master Academy could be self-taught in no time, couldn't it? Are you kidding me? Lin Chen said bluntly, I have already self-taught the knowledge of the Junior Spirit Master Academy. I was wondering if I could just register at the academy and get a graduation certificate. Director Su. Good grief, just register and get a graduation certificate. It is possible, but child, the graduation certificate from a Junior Spirit Master Academy doesn't have much value. You could completely skip a grade and go to an Intermediate Spirit Master Academy. Director Su advised earnestly. Lin Chen grinned, I want to skip directly to an Advanced Spirit Master Academy. Director Su suddenly realized. With his talent, it wouldn't be difficult to reach the admission requirements for an Advanced Spirit Master Academy in 6 years. Even if he fell a little short, his age would fully compensate for it. And a graduate with innate full spirit power could bring quite a bit of fame to Notting Academy, so naturally, he had no reason to refuse. Director Su agreed immediately. Meanwhile, outside the academy, Xiaogang had successfully managed to hook Tang San. Little San, do you know that Lin Chen? Tang San nodded. He is from the same village as me, but he came to Newton City early, saying it was to make money. Xiaogang's eyes lit up. Then do you know what his spirit is? Tang San thought for a moment. His spirit is a whip with purple lightning. I remember he told the Spirit Hall deacon that it was called something like Heavenly Thunder Whip. Xiaogang was dumbfounded. A lightning attribute whip, no matter how you look at it, couldn't possibly have the ability to see through others' fortunes. Could it be he also has twin spirits? Thinking of this possibility, Xiaogang's eyes were almost spitting fire. Twin spirits, another set of twin spirits. Heavens, have you finally seen my efforts? Xiaogang was trembling with excitement. Since the heavens had sent 2 sets of twin spirits to him, he, Grandmaster, would surely rise. Tang San added at this moment, by the way, he also has innate full spirit power. Xiaogang laughed, laughing very happily. With 2 disciples with twin spirits, he didn't know how he could lose. Let's go, teacher will take you to register. While imagining the future, Xiaogang took Tang San into Notting Academy. Just then, a little girl dressed in pink, wearing a long scorpion braid, with an extremely cute appearance, also walked over. P.S. Dear handsome men and beautiful women, I'm on a trial run. Please collect, please read, please recommend, please vote for monthly tickets. Please ask for everything that can be asked for. Chapter 14, Disaster Star, Xiaogang. Lin Chen stepped out of the director's office and happened to run into Xiaogang and Tang San. Interestingly, a little girl was following them. The little girl was dressed in pink and wore her hair in a long scorpion braid. There was no need to ask, he knew it was Xiao Wu. Although she was indeed very cute, it was just that cute. To Lin Chen, who possessed the soul of an adult, she held absolutely no attraction. Yo, little Chen finished registering. Xiaogang was beaming, greeting Lin Chen from afar. He never could have dreamed that one day he would encounter 2 people with twin spirits, plus one with innate full spirit power, all on the same day. Yet, as bizarre as it was, he had actually encountered it. Lin Chen. This bastard was being a bit too familiar. Was Little Chen something he was allowed to call him? Happy about finding good disciples, are you? Fine. Let's see if you're still grinning later. The director's office ahead is the registration point. You just need to hand your work-study student certificates to Director Su inside. I'll have a chat with Lin Chen. Upon approaching, Xiaogang said to Tang San and Xiao Wu. All right. Tang San and Xiao Wu didn't say much and walked straight past Lin Chen. You two, please stay a moment. Tang San and Xiao Wu didn't feel anything at Lin Chen's shout. The former was already used to it. and the latter didn't understand at all. However, Xiaogang's expression froze at that very moment. He stared with wide eyes, gazing at Lin Chen in disbelief. It was as if he were saying, "Hey, don't mess with me." Tang San and Xiaowu Wu stopped in unison and turned to look at Lin Chen. Xiaowu Wu asked, "Is something the matter?" Calamity strike on Xiaowu Wu and Tang San successful, obtained one system-granted spirit ring. What the hell is a system-granted spirit ring? Could it have the same function as a god-bestowed spirit ring? Lin Chen was filled with countless doubts. But now was clearly not the time to dwell on that question. He glanced at the space between their eyebrows, then turned to look at Xiaogang. His expression was somewhat strange, making Xiaogang feel an inexplicable panic in his heart. Is there a problem?" Lin Chen asked, "Has your life been filled with misfortune?" Hearing him ask this, Xiaogang involuntarily began to reminisce. He was the son of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect Master. He should have been the young sect master of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect, showered with love and glory. Yet, because of a spirit mutation, he became the disgrace of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect. He was unwilling to accept this and wanted to prove himself in other ways. He wanted the world to know that even if his spirit mutated into a useless spirit, he could still become an existence revered by the world. So he joined Spirit Hall. As a result, the 10 core competencies he had painstakingly researched failed to make much of a splash in the Spirit Master's world, and were even met with much controversy. As for Bibai Dong, that was nothing to him. Afterward, he left Spirit City, and successively got to know Flender and Liu Erlong, eventually making a name for himself in the Spirit Master's world. However, just when he and Liu Erlong were about to realize their relationship, he suddenly learned that Liu Erlong was actually his cousin. Those incidents were more than just misfortune, they were absolute bad luck. As he thought about it, the smile on Xiaogang's face gradually disappeared, replaced by anger and resentment, and his fists slowly clenched. After taking a deep breath, he looked at Lin Chen. "Do you have an explanation?" "Sigh." Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh upon hearing this, shaking his head with an air of mystery. "Forget it, let's not talk about it." Seeing this, Xiaogang wanted to curse, but stopped himself. What kind of person was this, who speaks only half a sentence? Tang San and Xiaowu Wu were also speechless. They had waited for a long time, only for the other party to suddenly say they wouldn't talk about it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Wasn't this just pure teasing? Xiaogang took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in his heart. "Speak, I promise I won't get angry." He knew the other party definitely wasn't holding back anything good, but he still wanted to hear it. Curiosity is just that strange. Lin Chen asked, "Are you sure?" Xiaogang nodded heavily, his eyes extremely firm. "Fine, then I'll say it." After saying this, Lin Chen raised his hand and pointed at Tang San and Xiaowu Wu. "I'm not sure about that little girl, but Tang San wasn't plagued by bad luck just now, yet now he has inexplicably become entangled with it." "What?" Tang San's eyes widened, looking at Lin Chen in disbelief. Xiaowu Wu frowned. Plagued by bad luck. The other party looked about the same age as her. Why was he talking so mysteriously? The key was. Xiaowu Wu glanced at Tang San and Xiaogang. Both were full of shock. That guy didn't seem to be talking nonsense. "You mean I passed the bad luck to both of them?" Xiaogang regretted it. He shouldn't have had such a loose tongue and asked that question. What if he scared away his good disciple? Without Tang San, how could he prove his theories, and how could he become a true Grandmaster revered by the world? Lin Chen nodded and said, "There is a kind of person in this world called a disaster star. Such a person's life is often filled with misfortune everywhere, and they will implicate those close to them." Since he was at Notting Academy, Xiaogang, Tang San, and the others would inevitably encounter bad luck frequently. Over time, it would be hard not to arouse suspicion. Since that was the case, he had no choice but to create a culprit. Bad luck. Bad luck is exactly right. Who told you to stay with a disaster star every day? Tang San's pupils shrank sharply when Lin Chen asked if Teacher's life was filled with misfortune just now. Teacher did not refute it. And sometimes, not refuting is often the best answer. Teacher is a disaster star. I just became his disciple, and I'm already plagued by bad luck, if this continues. Tang San dared not imagine it. Hearing this, Xiao Wu's gaze toward Xiaogang also became guarded. She didn't know if that guy's words were true or false. But when it involved caution, it was better to believe it than to ignore it. It seemed she would have to keep her distance from him in the future. The changes in Tang San and Xiao Wu's expressions were all seen by Xiaogang. Absurd. Although my life has had some misfortune, I have never implicated anyone else. On what grounds do you call me a disaster star? If you can't give me a proper explanation today, don't blame me for being impolite. Xiaogang was truly angry. Tang San was crucial to his future, there could absolutely be no mistakes. And Lin Chen's words were simply cutting off his future. Ruining someone's future is like killing their parents. This was an irreconcilable hatred, he had to have an explanation today. Look at you, getting anxious again. I didn't want to say it, but you insisted on listening, and now that you've heard it, you're blowing up. Tell me, do you have a problem? Lin Chen's tone was filled with speechlessness, and his expression was tinged with a hint of disdain. Yu Xiaogang was furious, yet he didn't know how to refute it. After all, it was indeed he who insisted on asking. Chapter 15. Tang San slaps Xiaogang. Little San, don't listen to this kid's nonsense. Where in the world is there any damn disaster star? If there really is one, it's him. After all, before meeting him, your teacher was living just fine. Xiaogang glared viciously at Lin Chen. If you say so, then so be it. Lin Chen spread his hands, looking as if there was nothing he could do about him. Tang San looked at Lin Chen, then at his teacher. Forget it, a teacher for a day is a father for a lifetime. The teacher I chose myself, even if he really is a disaster star, I must acknowledge him to the end. Teacher, regardless of whether you are a disaster star or not, I will always be your disciple. Tang San's expression was firm. Upon hearing this, a trace of warmth could not help but flash in the depths of Xiaogang's eyes. He is worthy of being the disciple gifted to him by the heavens. Whether in character or talent, there was no fault to be found in Tang San. HMPH, let's go. Xiaogang had originally intended to chat with Lin Chen, but now he had no such mood. Grandmaster, please wait. Lin Chen didn't know the meaning of restraint at all, and immediately called out to him again. The corners of Xiaogang's mouth twitched slightly, his fists clenched unconsciously, and he felt an inexplicable urge to backhand Lin Chen with a big slap. Although he was very unwilling to pay him any mind, Xiaogang still turned around. Spit it out. Calamity strike on Xiaogang successful, obtained 66 gold coins. Lin Chen smiled slightly. It's nothing major, I just wanted to remind you to be a bit careful lately. HMPH. Xiaogang snorted coldly, then took Tang San and entered the dean's office. Lin Chen did not call out again. I remember Gangzi is taking Tang San to the hunting soul forest tomorrow to hunt for a spirit ring, but I don't know if he will have the life to come back alive this time. I hope he doesn't die so rashly. Otherwise, without Gangzi, how much less fun my next 6 years will be. Lin Chen shook his head and walked away directly. Although he wasn't short on money, there was no need to stay in a hotel every day. Just making do in the academy dormitory for a few years would be fine. Of course, it was impossible for Lin Chen to squeeze into a large dormitory with the work-study students. There weren't many students at Notting Academy, and most were locals from New Uding City, so the dormitories were quite spacious. By paying a little accommodation fee, one could even live in a single room. The one Lin Chen chose was naturally the best one. The dormitory was over 20 square meters, and came with an attached bathroom with shower facilities. However, because it had been unoccupied for too long, the dormitory was covered in dust and needed a good cleaning before it could be lived in. Lin Chen didn't rush to clean. Instead, he opened his system backpack. The system backpack was composed of small squares, similar to a game backpack. The backpack didn't care about the volume of items. Even the largest items only occupied one slot, and identical items would be grouped into the same slot. Furthermore, there was no upper limit to the number of slots. Theoretically, it was infinite. However, among the numerous slots, only 4 contained items. The first was gold coins, the second was the many clothes Lin Chen had purchased, and the third was the bedding, toiletries, and such that he had bought yesterday. As for the last one, it was a golden bead, the size of a plum. When Lin Chen focused his mind on it, the information about the beads suddenly appeared. System-granted spirit ring can condense a spirit ring of a corresponding age based on the spirit master's own physique and mental force strength, generating the most compatible spirit ability. As expected, seeing the introduction for the system-granted spirit ring, a trace of joy couldn't help but appear on Lin Chen's face. The system-granted spirit ring corresponded to a god-bestowed spirit ring. As long as the spirit master could endure it, 100,000-year or million-year spirit ring was not a dream. Even 100,000-year spirit bone wouldn't be worth 1/10 of it. Only an external spirit bone with growth capabilities could rival it. The system's power seems to exceed my imagination. It seems I won't be lacking 100,000-year spirit rings in the future. The only downside is that the rewards are truly a bit too random. If only there was some pattern to it. Lin Chen couldn't help but shake his head and began to clean the dormitory. On the other side, Xiaogang brought Tang San back to the dormitory and asked him to release his second spirit to take a look. "Teacher, my second spirit." Tang San hesitated, looking ashamed to speak. Xiaogang frowned slightly. What does that mean? Could his second spirit also be a useless spirit? Tang San didn't know how to bring it up, so he simply released the clear sky hammer directly. This is... Xiaogang's pupils shrank violently, his expression filled with shock. Tang San's second spirit was actually the clear sky hammer. How could a disciple of the clear sky sect end up as a commoner? Wait, no, why is this clear sky hammer of his covered in cracks? Xiaogang looked at Tang San with a bewildered expression. Tang San lowered his head in shame and only then told him the whole story. After listening, Xiaogang fell silent. It is a good thing that Tang San understands how to hide his talent. Twin spirits are indeed not easy to expose. After all, in the entire history of spirit masters, only 2 have appeared. Once his twin spirits are exposed, it will definitely attract the hunting of Spirit Hall. It's just that. Who could have thought that forcibly suppressing the second spirit would cause the second spirit to shatter? Isn't this completely screwed? The number 1 tool spirit in the world was actually suppressed into a useless spirit. Who can I reason with about this? Oh heavens, aren't you playing with me? What use is it to send me twin useless spirits? Xiaogang's face was full of disappointment, which made Tang San feel dejected as well. The reason teacher accepted me as a disciple is because I have twin spirits. Now that he knows I have twin useless spirits, he won't expel me from the sect, will he? Tang San was a bit worried. Teacher, once a spirit is shattered, is it really impossible to repair it forever? Seeing him remain silent for a long time, Tang San couldn't help but ask. Repair? Xiaogang shook his head, and a trace of self-mockery couldn't help but appear on his face. Whether it's a spirit mutation or a fracture, they are both irreversible variables. If there were really a way to repair a spirit, I wouldn't be stuck at level 29. Tang San's eyes were full of unwillingness. Didn't you say that there are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters? Upon hearing this, Xiaogang's old face couldn't help but flush red. Tang San's words were like a loud slap, leaving him feeling a bit dizzy. However, he quickly recovered. Teacher, my innate soul power was only half a level. Logically speaking, I should never have been able to break through to level 9, but I successfully cultivated to level 29. I broke through the shackles of half-level innate soul power through my own hard work and talent. This is the origin of the saying, there are no useless spirits, only useless spirit masters. It's just that although I could break through the shackles of half-level innate soul power, I couldn't catch up to those true geniuses. That's not something that hard work and talent alone can achieve. Tang San suddenly realized. With half-level innate soul power, one cannot break through to level 9, but his teacher had cultivated to level 29. This was indeed a manifestation of personal ability. It's just that his teacher's starting point was too low, destined to be incomparable to true geniuses. Teacher, then I. Chapter 16. Tang San, who was fooled into a limp. Rest assured, with me as your teacher, becoming a titled Douluo is absolutely not an extravagant hope. Xiaogang said, full of confidence. Spirit quality at most affects combat power. The innate soul power level is what truly determines cultivation talent. Innate full spirit power, twin spirits. With the advantage of 18 spirit rings laid out there, becoming a titled Douluo is absolutely not a dream. Upon hearing this, Tang San was overjoyed. With 2 waste spirits, teacher still has the confidence to let me reach the titled Douluo level. I truly did not choose the wrong teacher. Xiaogang said, you may go for now. Tomorrow morning I will take you to obtain your first spirit ring, allowing you to become a true spirit master. Okay, thank you, teacher. Tang San was incredibly excited, bowing deeply to Xiaogang with eyes full of anticipation. Xiaogang smiled slightly. This disciple is good in every way, but his spirit quality is truly hard to describe. Sigh. After Tang San left, Xiaogang couldn't help but sigh. Twin waste spirits, that really is something. It seems I still need to find a way to take that Lin Chen under my wing as well. It's just. That kid looks difficult to fool, how can I get a handle on him? This is tricky. Xiaogang couldn't help but shake his head, then began to think about Tang San's spirit ring acquisition plan. Lin Chen finally finished cleaning the dormitory. The entire room appeared damp and needed to be ventilated and dried out before he could lay out his bedding. Let's go taste the cooking of the cafeteria chef. Lin Chen went downstairs and happened to run into a group of work-study students who were also preparing to go to the cafeteria. For some reason, whenever he saw someone with their back to him, he couldn't help but call out to them. Everyone, please stay a moment. Tang San and the others stopped in unison and turned to look at him. Seeing Lin Chen, Xiao Wu's expression was slightly strange. She wondered if he was going to say again that she was plagued by bad luck. Wang Sheng and the others also had unusual expressions. But it wasn't because of Lin Chen's words, but rather his attire and image. The other party clearly looked like a young noble. Tang San, however, didn't seem unusual. Are you also going to the cafeteria? Yes, let's go together. Watching the black energy burrow into the center of everyone's brows, Lin Chen responded indifferently. At the same time, he also received a system notification. However, the reward wasn't worth mentioning, just a slightly larger amount of gold coins. Wang Sheng looked at Tang San, you know each other. The other work-study students were also full of surprise, clearly not expecting Tang San to know a young noble. Yes, we are from the same village. Tang San didn't think much of it and directly exposed Lin Chen's background. What? Wang Sheng and the others were dumbfounded and couldn't help but look Lin Chen up and down. His attire, bearing, and image, where was there any sign of a commoner? And he wasn't living in the work-study student dormitory either. Could there really be such a wealthy person in Tang San's village? Let's go. Lin Chen walked up to them, then signaled for everyone to set off together. Soon the group arrived at the cafeteria. And they also bumped into Xiao Chenyu and his group, who were coming down from the second floor. Grandmaster. Seeing Lin Chen, Xiao Chenyu was full of surprise and rushed down in a few strides. Liu Long and the others were much the same. After Lin Chen told their fortunes last time, they all experienced a bout of bad luck. Fortunately, the issues weren't major. In their view, the reason the issues weren't major was because of Lin Chen's warning. Otherwise, no one knew what the bad luck might have evolved into. Because of this, they all harbored some gratitude toward Lin Chen. Tang San thought the other party was calling his teacher, but when he looked back, he didn't see anyone. Lin Chen greeted, "It's you." Tang San. He had truly forgotten that Lin Chen had said others also called him Grandmaster. Xiao Chenyu glanced at Wang Sheng and the others, then looked at Lin Chen. "Grandmaster, with your status, how could you enroll as a work-study student? Isn't that just a complete waste of cultivation time? Let me go pay your registration fee, it doesn't cost much for 6 years in total." Wang Sheng and the others were completely dumbfounded. What kind of person is this villager of Tang San's? He could actually make Xiao Chenyu, the city lord's son, act so obsequious. Is this reasonable? Lin Chen waved his hand. "No need, I didn't enroll as a work-study student. I just happened to run into them and came to the cafeteria together." Xiao Chenyu suddenly realized. He knew it, with the other party's ability, how could he possibly be short on money? Even if he were short, it shouldn't be this little. Subsequently, Xiao Chenyu offered to treat Lin Chen to a meal in the city. However, he was refused by Lin Chen, but unable to withstand the other party's excessive enthusiasm, he had to let him treat him to a meal on the second floor. "Tang San, what's the deal with your fellow villager?" After Lin Chen and Xiao Chenyu's group went upstairs, Wang Sheng couldn't help but ask. "I'm not entirely sure, but he seems to be able to see through other people's fortunes. Perhaps that's how he came to know those people." There was a hint of envy in the depths of Tang San's eyes. He currently didn't have a single cent, and even had to rely on Wang Sheng and the others to treat him to dinner. If only he had the same money-making ability as Lin Chen. Wang Sheng and the others were shocked once again, staring dumbfounded at the second floor. See through other people's fortunes? What kind of spirit does he actually have? This ability is too absurd, right? Little San. Tang San turned his head and saw Xiaogang slowly walking toward the cafeteria. Seeing his teacher, Tang San was delighted. "Teacher," Xiaogang said, "let's go, come with me to the second floor to eat." After speaking, he looked at Xiao Wu. If the quality isn't good, then pile on some quantity, at least she is an innate full spirit power. "You come along too." Xiao Wu subconsciously wanted to refuse. She was truly a bit afraid of Lin Chen's so-called star of disaster, but she couldn't resist the good fortune of a pie falling from the sky. "Thank you." In the end, Xiao Wu agreed and followed Xiaogang and the other two to the second floor. Wang Sheng and the others looked at each other. Tang San actually took that waste as his teacher. This is simply. It seems there isn't a single normal person in their village. "Let's go." Wang Sheng couldn't help but shake his head, then led the others toward the food-serving window. Second floor. Lin Chen had just finished getting his food and sat down when he saw Xiaogang and the three of them. Why did Xiao Wu come up too? I remember that in the original work, Xiaogang didn't really pay much attention to Xiao Wu. The butterfly effect. Forget it, why think so much, it's not a big deal. Xiao Chenyu and the others had already eaten, so they could only keep him company, chatting with him while watching Lin Chen eat. "Wait, Grandmaster, isn't it a bit inappropriate for you to bring 2 people at once?" Lin Chen and the others looked over one after another. They saw the cafeteria manager frowning, looking at Xiaogang with a displeased expression. This dog thing eating for free in the academy was one thing, but now he's actually started bringing people, and 2 at that. Does he really think his costs aren't money? As for connections, since he manages the Notting Academy cafeteria, how could he not have connections? Xiaogang was stunned. As a friend of the dean, what's wrong with bringing 2 people up to eat? This dog thing is really not giving him any face, is he? Looking at the embarrassed Tang San and Xiao Wu, Xiaogang's expression instantly darkened. Chapter 17, Zyro Wu, almost solo killed by a bone. All the privileges I have at the academy were personally set by the dean. If you have any objections, feel free to go file a complaint with him. Now trouble yourself to get lost. Yu Xiaogang's eyes were cold and gloomy, the faint aura belonging to Spirit Grandmaster struggling to burst forth. The other party dared to embarrass him right in front of his good disciple. This was truly seeking death, so naturally, Yu Xiaogang couldn't be expected to give him a pleasant look. If he was sensible enough to step aside, that would be one thing. But if he wasn't sensible, Yu Xiaogang wouldn't mind teaching him a lesson. The cafeteria manager was merely an ordinary person. You, fine, you're something else. The cafeteria manager was furious, yet he didn't dare to truly provoke Yu Xiaogang. HMPH. Watching the cafeteria staff member flick his sleeves and leave, Yu Xiaogang let out a cold huff like a victorious rooster. He looked at the woman serving the food. Serve the food, 3 portions. How could the cafeteria auntie dare to refuse? She immediately served him 3 portions of food. Sigh. Seeing that a fight didn't break out, Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. He had been hopping for some entertainment to go with his meal. Liu Long suddenly thought of something and laughed out loud. He whispered to Lin Chen, teasing him. Come to think of it, he is a Grandmaster, it's just that the gold content. Liu Long didn't finish his sentence, but that meaningful smile said it all, immediately causing Zyro Chenyu and the others to chuckle. Lin Chen joined in the laughter. Everyone thought the show was over, but unexpectedly, trouble soon stirred up again over at Yu Xiaogang's table. Cough, cough, cough. Zyro Wu was eating when she suddenly began to cough violently. Her face gradually turned pale. It was as if she would choke to death if she didn't get help soon. Zyro Wu, are you okay? Tang San, sitting beside Zyro Wu, hurriedly began to pat her back, but his help didn't seem to have much effect. Not only was it ineffective, but it seemed to exacerbate Zyro Wu's pain, making her unable to even cough, as if she were about to suffocate. Her body began to go limp and slide down. Zyro Wu. Tang San stood up abruptly and grabbed the sliding Zyro Wu. Teacher. At a loss, Tang San could only cast a pleading look at Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang was a bit confused. It was just eating a meal, how could she choke to this extent? Confusion aside, his movements were not slow. He quickly stood up, took Zyro Wu from Tang San's hands, then circulated his spirit power and slammed a palm onto Zyro Wu's back. A bone suddenly shot out from Zyro Wu's mouth. Who's ha? Relieved, Zyro Wu took deep breaths of fresh air. This. Zyro Chenyu and the others looked at each other, truly shocked by the other party. A dignified spirit master. Even if she was just a spirit scholar without a spirit ring, she shouldn't have choked on a bone like that, right? If there had been no one around today, wouldn't she have choked to death? A spirit scholar choking to death, that's just hard to keep a straight face about. Lin Chen tried his best to suppress the corners of his mouth, burying his head and frantically shoveling food into his mouth. This incident was naturally caused by an outbreak of bad luck. A dignified 100,000-year spirit beast was almost solo killed by a bone. This really made it hard for him to keep a straight face. Zyro Wu, are you okay? Watching Zyro Wu gradually recover, Tang San didn't know what to say. Zyro Wu shook her head weakly. Her first day at the Spirit Master Academy, and she almost choked to death. If Da Ming and Ming found out about this, wouldn't they laugh her to death? How could she have choked on a bone for no reason? I am just too unlucky. Thinking of bad luck, Zyro Wu suddenly remembered Lin Chen's earlier words. She subconsciously looked at Yu Xiaogang. Could this guy really be the jinx that Lin Chen talked about? No, I have to stay away from him. This time it was just being choked by a bone, next time who knows what it will be. Yu Xiaogang looked completely bewildered. He always felt that Zyro Wu's gaze was strange, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Zyro Wu stole a glance at Lin Chen. seeing that he had finished eating and was preparing to leave the cafeteria. I'm done eating, you guys go ahead. Xiao Wu dropped this sentence and ran off, ignoring the reactions of Xiaogang and the other. Xiaogang and Tang San were both completely dumbfounded. Lin Chen. Xiao Wu called out to Lin Chen ahead. Is something the matter? Lin Chen turned around, roughly guessing what she wanted to do. Can you see if my bad luck is still there? Xiao Wu asked tentatively, her eyes filled with curiosity. Lin Chen said with a smile, it's gone. As I thought. At this moment, Xiao Wu was certain that the Grandmaster really was a jinx. Xiao Chenyu and the others also suddenly realized. They had all experienced it personally and knew that when bad luck strikes, no matter how careful you are, you can't stop it. At most, you can only mitigate some of the consequences. They had been wondering how a dignified spirit scholar could almost be solo-killed by a bone. So it was bad luck at work. As expected of Lin Chen, his judgment on such matters is still so accurate. Lin Chen didn't interact much more with Xiao Wu, and led Xiao Chenyu and the others away directly. After all, Tang Hao might be watching from the shadows. If Tang Hao discovered that Xiao Wu and he were too close, no one knew what he would do. For such potential risks, it was better to avoid them as much as possible. You guys go back first, I'm heading to the dormitory. After saying goodbye to Xiao Chenyu and the others, Lin Chen returned to the dormitory alone. He touched the bedboard, and after confirming there was no more moisture, he took out his bedding from the system inventory and laid it out. After finishing, he took a shower, and then sat cross-legged on the bed. Mystic Origin Art, activate. Lin Chen finished making his bed, sat cross-legged on it, and began his daily cultivation. The next day, the opening ceremony. Lin Chen didn't intend to skip it. After all, he was eating and living in the academy, so he had to give the dean some face, at least a little. Tang San and Xiao Wu, however, didn't show up. Needless to say, Tang San must have been taken by Gangzi to hunt for a spirit ring. According to the original plot, Gangzi was already destined for bad luck this time, and after being blessed by him, it would surely be even worse. I wonder if he can handle it this time, and if he does, what price he will pay. It seems I need to keep track of the time and go see his final outcome, so I can judge exactly how effective the bad luck stacking is. Lin Chen still had some bottom line. Unless necessary, he didn't want innocent people to die because of him. It's fine for innocent people to have a little bad luck, but death is a different matter entirely. That would weigh on his conscience. Only by fully understanding the specific effects of the bad luck stacking can he better carry out Calamity Strike in the future. As for Xiao Wu, she probably asked for leave and went off to find a place to generate her first spirit ring. Elsewhere, on the other side, after half a day of bumpy travel, Xiaogang and the other finally arrived at the Hunting Soul Forest. This is a 10-year lone bamboo. Its characteristic is toughness. Although its attack power is weak, its defensive capabilities are quite good, making it quite suitable for your blue-silver grass. Chapter 18 Gangzi's QQ is forcefully uninstalled. Tang Hao was hiding in the shadows, and upon hearing Xiaogang's words, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. A 10-year lonely bamboo is suitable for blue-silver grass. Isn't this pure nonsense? It seems there is a reason why that piece of trash's theories are not accepted by the world. Tang Hao shook his head and turned to leave. He had to personally go and pick a spirit beast for little San. Otherwise, that piece of trash Xiaogang might really let his son absorb a 10-year lonely bamboo. As for why he didn't stop Tang San from becoming an apprentice, even though he knew Xiaogang was a piece of trash, it was naturally because of Bibai Dong. As the only person in the world who has lived to cultivate to a titled Douluo with twin spirits, Bibai Dong is the only one who knows how to resolve the conflict between twin spirits. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. If there is anyone in this world who can obtain this secret from her lips, I am afraid it is only you, Xiaogang. Tang San curiously examined the lonely bamboo in front of him. He never expected that this seemingly ordinary bamboo was actually a spirit beast. However, what the teacher said must be right. Teacher, then should I choose this bamboo for my first spirit ring? Upon hearing this, Xiaogang shook his head. Although this lonely bamboo is not bad, its age is ultimately too low. Let's keep looking, and if we really can't find anything suitable, we will choose it. Tang San nodded obediently. According to my research, the limit for a spirit master's first spirit ring should be 423 years. I hope you can get as close to this limit as possible. Xiaogang placed one hand behind his back, a trace of arrogance appearing between his brows. The 10 core competencies of spirit masters was his greatest research achievement and the pride of his life, so every time he mentioned it, he felt incomparably proud. Upon hearing this, Tang San's eyes shone, looking exactly like a little fanboy seeing his idol. The teacher is truly worthy of being a theoretical Grandmaster. Let's go. Xiaogang was very satisfied with Tang San's reaction and walked towards the depths of the jungle. Luo Sanpao led the way in front. Tang San also hurriedly followed. The two and the beast moved through the dense forest. As they went deeper, Xiaogang introduced the spirit beasts they encountered along the way to Tang San. His introductions were extremely detailed. The names, characteristics, and how to determine their age were all introduced clearly. Tang San could be said to have had his eyes opened. Luo. Luo Sanpao suddenly stopped, baring its fangs and growling in a certain direction, as if warning of something. Teacher, what's wrong with it? Tang San looked at Xiaogang with some confusion, his eyes filled with curiosity. Xiaogang's face was solemn. He and Luo Sanpao shared a telepathic connection, so he could roughly feel the other's thoughts. Sanpao was warning him that danger was approaching. And judging from its reaction, the approaching danger was quite threatening. Go! Without any hesitation, Xiaogang subconsciously wanted to take Tang San to change their route. Unfortunately, it was too late. Dense, sharp, and highly penetrating sounds came from all directions. Xiaogang's expression changed suddenly. A pack of hyenas. He definitely wouldn't judge wrongly, that was the sound of a pack of hyenas. Hyenas, a type of extremely disgusting spirit beast. They love to gouge the crotch. Whenever anyone is surrounded by them, if they don't have enough strength, even if they survive, they will painfully lose their QQ and become a neither man nor woman existence. Hyenas are definitely the kind of spirit beast that most spirit masters do not want to encounter. They are even more terrifying than a pack of wolves. Little San, run. Xiaogang didn't have time to explain and rushed out instantly. Tang San didn't doubt him and hurriedly followed. However, just as they rushed out, more than a dozen hyenas, over 3 meters in size and drooling, crawled out from the jungle ahead. Not just in front. On the left and right sides, as well as behind, hyenas also appeared. In total, there were more than 50 of them. It's over. Seeing the size of those hyenas, Xiaogang was suddenly shrouded in despair. They are all century-level hyenas, how can we fight this? While feeling fearful, Xiaogang suddenly thought of Lin Chen's warning. Why the hell don't I learn my lesson? Xiaogang regretted it immensely, regretting not taking Lin Chen's warning seriously. The hyena queen, hiding in the shadows, blew the horn of attack. More than 50 hyenas swarmed up. Little San put on a mask. While Xiaogang issued the warning, he also put on a mask himself. Tang San dared not hesitate and hurriedly put it on. First spirit ability, farting like thunder, earth-shattering Luo Sanpao. As Xiaogang's incantation fell, Luo Sanpao soared into the air. Its belly expanded rapidly. Boom! A thunderous fart sound rang out, and an incomparably foul-smelling gas suddenly burst forth, spreading in all directions centered on Luo Sanpao, regardless of friend or foe. More than 50 hyenas, as well as the master-disciple duo of Xiaogang, were all within range. Even wearing a mask, Tang San could smell a trace of the stench. It caused his stomach to churn. His body also felt inexplicably weak from inhaling a small amount of the poisonous fart. On the other hand, the many hyenas did not seem to be greatly affected. Luo Sanpao's toxicity was just like scratching an itch to them. Before Yu Xiaogang could use his second spirit ability, a hyena lunged at Luo Sanpao, its speed so fast that Luo Sanpao couldn't dodge in time. Luo's loser. Luo Sanpao was pinned to the ground and bitten by the hyena, immediately letting out miserable cries. Sanpao. Yu Xiaogang's face changed, and he hurriedly performed a hand seal to retract his spirit. Luo Sanpao turned into dots of light and disappeared. At almost the same time, 3 hyenas rushed to Yu Xiaogang's front. Little San, run! Yu Xiaogang issued his final warning, and then he was tackled to the ground by the 3 hyenas. 3 hyenas, 2 biting his hands, 1 uninstalling Yu Xiaogang's QQ. They bit Yu Xiaogang and pulled him back frantically, as if they wanted to tear him apart. A heart-rending scream came from Yu Xiaogang's mouth. Teacher! Tang San stepped on the ghost shadow perplexing track, dodging the hyena's attacks while also noticing Yu Xiaogang's miserable state, and couldn't help but scream out in shock. He could no longer care about hiding his skills and raised his right hand, pointing it at the 3 hyenas. Swish, swish, swish. 3 silent sleeve darts flew through the air, striking directly at the 3 hyenas pressing down on Yu Xiaogang. Puff, puff, puff. The 3 short darts pierced through the bodies of the 3 hyenas with great precision. The hyenas let go in pain, and Yu Xiaogang finally gained a moment of respite, but the unparalleled pain did not disappear because of this. Moreover, in the next second, more hyenas lunged at him. Tang San saw it in his eyes and was anxious in his heart. The silent sleeve dart is a one-time hidden weapon. It becomes useless after being fired, and without a storage spirit tool, he didn't bring any other hidden weapons at all. Moreover, more than 20 hyenas were surrounding him on his side. Now, let alone saving the teacher, he himself was probably unable to protect himself. No matter how excellent the ghost shadow perplexing track is, there must be gaps for him to maneuver. Yu Xiaogang's screams rang out again, even more miserable than before. His QQ was forcefully uninstalled. Almost at the same time, Tang San was also bitten on the calf by a hyena because he didn't dodge in time, and his whole body was suddenly dragged to the ground. Chapter 19. Lin Chen scares Gangzi into wetting himself with a single word. While screaming in pain, a layer of mysterious jade color dyed Tang San's hands. He desperately struck at the hyenas gnawing on him. Unfortunately, his meager strength was truly negligible to the century-level hyenas. Ow! Another hyena rushed up and bit down on his wrist. Then came the second, the third. Tang San's small body was soon completely obscured by the hyenas. When a bloody maw ruthlessly landed between his legs, Tang San could no longer endure it and let out a heartrending scream. Beasts, stop! Suddenly, a thunderous roar exploded, followed by a terrifying pressure that scared the many hyenas into releasing their prey. The hyena queen's command rang out, and the many hyenas scattered in a rush. Little San. Tang Hao descended from the sky, looking at the blood-covered Tang San with eyes full of disbelief. His body trembled like a sieve. He didn't understand, he had only gone off to find a spirit beast. How did his son end up like this? If he had arrived any later, would little San have lost his life in the jaws of those dogs? Dad, it hurts so much. Seeing Tang Hao, Tang San did not feel much joy in his heart. Pain flooded his entire body. His voice was very faint, as if he had reached the end of his life. Slap! Tang Hao fiercely slapped himself, feeling incomparable self-reproach in his heart. As a titled Douluo, he couldn't even protect his own son. This was just the hunting soul forest, not the Stardew Great Forest. Tang Hao, oh Tang Hao, you are truly a piece of trash. You've suffered once, yet you still haven't learned your lesson. Do you really want to get your son killed before you're satisfied? Dad! Tang San's call woke Tang Hao, and he hurriedly picked up Tang San. "Little San, don't be afraid. Dad will take you to find a healing soul master right now." Tang Hao picked up Tang San and was about to leave, not paying any attention to Xiaogang on the side. "Dad, teacher." Even in this state, Tang San was still thinking of Xiaogang. Tang Hao looked back. He saw Xiaogang lying there covered in blood, not a single part of his body intact, though his slightly rising chest proved he was still alive. "Trash." Tang Hao couldn't help but curse under his breath. There was not a shred of sympathy in his heart for Xiaogang's miserable state, only endless anger. If he wasn't such trash, how could Little San have suffered such torture? Although Tang Hao wished he could smash him to death with a single hammer blow right now, he ultimately held back, grabbed him by the collar, and rushed quickly toward the exit of the hunting soul forest. The conflict issue of the twin spirits still relied on Xiaogang. Before that, he could not die. "It's been 7 days, why haven't they returned? They didn't actually kick the bucket, did they?" Lin Chen leaned on the balcony, gazing toward the school gate. He remembered that in the original work, Gangzi and Tang San returned the next day, but it had already been 7 days, and the two had yet to return. This made him have to wonder if he had caused them to die. That shouldn't be right. Could it be that Tang Hao wasn't secretly protecting Tang San? Lin Chen could not understand it no matter how much he thought about it. Forget it, if they're dead, they're dead. It's not a big deal anyway. Lin Chen was just about to turn around and return to his dormitory. Lin Chen's movements paused, and he gazed into the distance with a look of surprise to see Xiaogang and Tang San walking slowly toward the dormitory building. As expected, how could the son of destiny kick the bucket so easily? It's just. For some reason, Lin Chen always felt that their walking posture was a bit strange. But he couldn't quite put his finger on it. "Let's go check it out." Lin Chen immediately went downstairs and walked over to meet Xiaogang and the other. "Teacher, I'm going back to the dormitory first." Tang San's tone was slightly low, as if he had suffered some sort of blow. Xiaogang responded absent-mindedly, his mood clearly not right either. It was no wonder they were like this. Although Tang Hao had brought them to a healing soul master in time, even the continent's #1 healing soul master could not regenerate severed limbs. And their manhood had long since been swallowed in one bite by the hyenas. Naturally, there was no way for them to grow back. Now Xiaogang and Tang San had both been reduced to eunuchs, neither male nor female. Under these circumstances, it would be a ghost if their mood was good. "Grandmaster Tang San, you finally returned." The suddenly heard voice made Xiaogang shudder all over. A few drops of urine squeezed out uncontrollably. There was no helping it, having just finished the surgery, he was still not quite used to it. The two looked over in unison. Seeing Lin Chen walking toward them, both fell into silence. Regarding Lin Chen, they really didn't know what to say. If they wanted to blame him for being a jinx, he had kindly reminded them. If they had taken it seriously at the time, perhaps the later tragedy wouldn't have happened. If they said they didn't resent Lin Chen, they still felt a bit uncomfortable in their hearts. Lin Chen came close, generously letting his gaze land on their foreheads, and then expressed a very genuine concern. "The bad luck has been broken, are you two okay?" Upon hearing this, Xiaogang's mouth twitched, and he lied through his teeth. "It's good that we had your reminder. It can be considered a narrow escape." The matter of their manhood being uninstalled was something they would never tell others, even if beaten to death. Otherwise, how would others view them? Tang San remained silent. The two's reactions were all telling Lin Chen that things were definitely not that simple. However, it wasn't easy for him to ask too much about this kind of thing. "It's good that you're fine. You were gone for so long, you had me worried sick," Lin Chen said, feigning relief. Seeing the genuine expression on his face, Xiaogang and Tang San didn't know what to say for a moment. They could only secretly swear in their hearts that next time the other party gave a reminder, they must take it seriously, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. After chatting simply for a few sentences, Xiaogang and Tang San prepared to leave. Grandmaster Tang San, please stay. Lin Chen shouted, scaring Xiaogang into a sudden shudder. His pants were instantly soaked in a large area. Although Tang San wasn't as exaggerated, he was also badly frightened by that familiar line. Ugh. Looking at the large wet patch on Xiaogang's pants, Lin Chen was stunned. Wasn't his reaction a bit too exaggerated? To be able to scare him like this, what exactly did they experience on this trip? Is there a problem? The two turned around, their faces full of nervousness as they looked at Lin Chen. Calamity strike on Xiaogang and Tang San successful, obtained ultimate technique, Sky Thunder movement. Lin Chen's pupils constricted. Good heavens, it actually dropped gold. Aren't they going to have terrible luck again? System, isn't this a bit mean? They just had terrible luck, at least let them catch their breath. Lin Chen looked at the two, feeling a bit unbearable. That. I plan to go out, is there anything you want to eat? My treat. Chapter 20, Tang Hao, am I actually the disaster star? Huff. Hearing Lin Chen say this, Xiaogang and Tang San both breathed a sigh of relief. They had thought they were about to be unlucky again. Coming back to his senses, Xiaogang looked down, and his old face immediately turned red. He, the dignified Grandmaster, had actually been scared into wetting his pants by a single sentence. If this matter were to spread, how would he have the face to remain in the Spirit Master's world? No need. Xiaogang dropped these two words and hurriedly turned to flee the scene. Thanks, but no need. Tang San offered a word of thanks, then also turned and headed towards the 7th dorm. He was truly afraid of Lin Chen. If he stayed a moment longer, the other party might declare another misfortune is imminent. He didn't have any more spare pants. I wonder what on earth they experienced to be scared like this. It couldn't be that they were, by the wolf, taken. Lin Chen shook his head vigorously, shaking away that disgusting thought. Let's let them take a break for now. Lin Chen really couldn't bear it, so he decided to give them a break. It was mainly to avoid suspicion. Even if a person is unlucky, misfortune shouldn't come one after another, right? Letting them recover would help him hide his own identity. System, accept the reward. Lin Chen moved his thoughts, and a large amount of memory information suddenly flooded into his mind. Sky Thunder movement, a surprise attack and flight technique. Its speed increases with his level. When raised to the top level, he can transform into lightning, traversing vast distances in an instant. What a great Sky Thunder movement! Lin Chen didn't know if the Douluo Continent he was in had incorporated settings from other series. If it was just the setting of the first Douluo, flight would definitely be a huge advantage. Because in the setting of the first Douluo, unless one possessed a spirit with flight capabilities, or a flight spirit ability, even reaching the level of a titled Douluo would only allow for brief flight. In other words, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that a spirit master who can fly is innately invincible. Even if they couldn't win, they could still retreat unscathed. The Sky Thunder movement, rewarded by the system, brought Lin Chen exactly such an advantage. One could only say it was worthy of being a system product. Lin Chen smiled slightly and walked towards the school gate in a good mood. His luck was good today, time to go eat out. But what Lin Chen didn't expect was that he was called out just as he stepped out of the school gate. Lin Chen. Hearing a somewhat familiar smoky voice, Lin Chen looked in the direction of the sound. He saw a middle-aged man who looked extremely decadent, his appearance barely better than a beggar, standing at a street corner looking at him. Uncle Hao. Lin Chen never expected that Tang Hao would actually jump out to find him. Could it be that the other party had noticed something abnormal? Lin Chen was panicking inside, but his expression remained calm. He walked up to Tang Hao. Uncle Hao, are you here to see Tang San? Do you need me to help you call him out? Tang Hao shook his head. No need, I'm here to find you. I have something I want to ask you. Hearing this, Lin Chen stopped panicking. The other party's tone and expression didn't look like he was here to pick a fight. Without waiting for Lin Chen to speak, Tang Hao asked first. I heard from Little San that you can read fortune, and that the Grandmaster is a disaster star. Tang Hao came to find Lin Chen to confirm this matter. The encounter in the hunting soul forest had caused his son to lose his masculine dignity. If not for Little San's strong willpower, even if he didn't seek death, he would probably have given up on himself and never recovered. If that disaster was just an accident, he could grit his teeth and get over it. But if it was because of Xiaogang, then Tang Hao would have to seriously consider whether to let Little San continue following him. After all, this time he only lost his dignity. Next time it might be his life. Having experienced this coincidence, even Tang Hao, as a titled Douluo, dared not guarantee that Tang San would be safe from the encroachment of Misfortune. After all, he couldn't keep an eye on Tang San every moment. Lin Chen didn't expect Tang Hao to come to him just to ask this. Tang Hao said, I want to hear the truth. Lin Chen thought about it. A true disaster star often curses their own parents, wife, and children to death. I don't know the specific situation of the Grandmaster, so I'm not too sure. The reason I said he is a disaster star is simply because Tang San became plagued by misfortune after coming into contact with him, plus he didn't refute his own unfortunate life. Tang Hao was stunned after hearing Lin Chen's words. His mother had passed away accidentally when he was very young. The reason his wife Yin's identity as a spirit beast was exposed was also related to him. It could be said that he was the one who caused her death. And his father was also angered to death because he killed the Supreme Pontiff of Spirit Hall. He was now only one son away from what Lin Chen described as cursing his parents, wife, and children to death. Tang Hao, am I actually the disaster star? In that case, was it actually me who passed the misfortune to Little San, and Little San passed it to Xiaogang, making Xiaogang the victim? Tang Hao suddenly thought of Tang San's second spirit. Logically speaking, after the spirit awakened, retracting or releasing the spirit shouldn't have much of an impact, yet when Little San retracted his second spirit, it caused the clear sky hammer to shatter. Could that also be because of me? Tang Hao's rapidly changing expression was all seen by Lin Chen. That was exactly his goal. Staying in Niuding City, Tang Hao was ultimately a potential threat to him. He had to find a way to get him away. The original work didn't mention Tang Hao's mother, which meant she had long since died. His father was angered to death by him. His wife, Yin, had even become his 9th spirit ring. With Lin Chen saying that, Tang Hao would definitely subconsciously associate himself with being a disaster star. For the sake of Tang San, he would most likely choose to leave. Without Tang Hao in Niuding City, Lin Chen's pressure would be much smaller. Tang Hao took a deep breath and looked at Lin Chen. After staying away from the disaster star, there shouldn't be any more influence, right? Lin Chen said, if there is no blood relationship. With him around, even if Tang Hao left, Tang San would still be unlucky, so he naturally didn't dare to say it for sure, otherwise Tang Hao would easily realize it. Tang Hao frowned, then what if there is a blood relationship? Lin Chen feigned confusion, and the look he gave Tang Hao again also sprouted a hint of pity. Tang Hao asked, what kind of look is that? Lin Chen waved his hands repeatedly. Nothing. If there is a blood relationship, no matter how far away, there will be more or less a certain influence, but it will be greatly weakened. For example, a death tribulation will be weakened to a bloody disaster, and a bloody disaster will be weakened to small disasters like financial loss. It won't truly endanger one's life. Hearing this, Tang Hao immediately breathed a sigh of relief. As long as it wouldn't endanger his life, it was fine. Small disasters and such could just be considered tempering. All right, I'm leaving. Tang Hao planned to go say goodbye to Tang San and Xiaogang before leaving. At the same time, there was one more thing he needed to instruct them on. Uncle Hao, please stay. Lin Chen called out to him the moment Tang Hao turned around. Tang Hao stopped and turned around. What is it? Calamity strike on Tang Hao successful, obtained God-level spirit, Sword of Calamity. Good guy. It hit gold on the first try. Could it be that Calamity strike is more likely to hit gold on stronger people? Chapter 21 Tang Hao, I really am a jinx. Lin Chen said, it's nothing major, just that I've earned a little money recently. Since you rarely come by, let me treat you to a meal. Upon hearing this, Tang Hao couldn't help but be stunned. No wonder this kid is so well liked in the village. He really is sensible. However, as the dignified clear sky Douluo, how could he let a child treat him? No need, I still have things to do. After saying this, Tang Hao turned and left. This time, Lin Chen did not stop him. Tang Hao was not like Xiaogang and the others. Calling out to him repeatedly might arouse suspicion. Besides, getting a payout once was enough. After parting ways with Lin Chen's Tang Hao immediately snuck into Notting Academy. He arrived outside Xiaogang's dormitory door. Knock, knock, knock. Xiaogang had just finished bathing and changing clothes, preparing to drink some water to calm his nerves, when unexpectedly, the dormitory door was suddenly knocked upon. Startled, Xiaogang suddenly choked inexplicably. Cough, cough, cough. Xiaogang coughed violently, his old face flushed red. He frantically patted his chest. It would have been fine if he hadn't, but this patting only made it worse. He clutched his throat tightly, as if he were about to suffocate. Who was Tang Hao? He sensed the abnormality immediately. Bang! He kicked open the door and rushed in front of Xiaogang. Bang! Tang Hao slapped Xiaogang on the back, and the water choked in the latter's throat was immediately expelled. Huff, huff. Xiaogang breathed in the fresh air, with an expression of having narrowly escaped death. He really began to doubt life. First, he just wanted to have a snack, but ended up encountering a wanted criminal. His storage spirit tool was stolen, and he was beaten half to death. Then, he was bitten half to death by a hyena in the hunting soul forest. Even his dignity as a man was gone. Now it was even more absurd. He almost choked to death just from drinking water. How could a person be so unlucky to this extent? I really am a jinx. Just by knocking on a door, I almost caused a spirit Grandmaster to be choked to death by a mouthful of water. Tang Hao looked at Xiaogang, a trace of apology rising in his heart. In his view, all the suffering the other party encountered was brought about by himself, the jinx. Why did you here? Xiaogang caught his breath before looking up at Tang Hao. Tang Hao put away the apology in his heart. I have some things to deal with, so I came to say goodbye. Xiaogang couldn't help but be stunned. Wasn't he just saying a few days ago that he wanted to protect Tang San properly? Why was he suddenly running away again? If he left, what would happen to little San's subsequent spirit rings? He couldn't rely on himself, could he? This spirit hunting trip had truly given Xiaogang psychological trauma. He had long secretly sworn in his heart that in the future, if there was no strong person by his side, he would absolutely never go to the spirit beast forest again. Tang Hao seemed to see through Xiaogang's thoughts. I will leave you an address. When little San breaks through to level 20 and needs to hunt for a spirit ring, you can write to me, and I will rush back in time. Upon hearing this, Xiaogang finally breathed a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't responsible for Tang San's subsequent spirit rings, it was fine. Tang Hao added, there is one more thing, you should be quite good with women. Find a way to help little San win over that Xiao Wu. Hearing this, Xiaogang was inevitably a bit confused. He was indeed good with women, but the problem was that Tang San no longer had that ability. Even if he really won over Xiao Wu, what was the point? To prove how useless he himself was. Was Tang Hao not afraid of provoking suicidal thoughts in Tang San? Forget it, let him be. Xiaogang asked, what about Lin Chen? Little San will definitely clash with Spirit Hall in the future, and that Lin Chen is clearly a good asset. Tang Hao said, if you can handle him, that would naturally be best. He said this with his mouth, but in his heart, he didn't think much of Xiaogang's chances. That Lin Chen regarded him as a jinx, how could he possibly become his disciple? Moreover, Lin Chen was able to thrive in Newting City at such a young age. With Yu Xiaogang's level of skill, he might not necessarily be able to hoodwink him. Yu Xiaogang had obviously long realized that Lin Chen was not easy to hoodwink. What I mean is, why don't you reveal some of your strength in front of him? That way, wouldn't he be eager to act like a dog for little San? Upon hearing this, Tang Hao shook his head, his expression gradually becoming serious. My strength must absolutely not be revealed to him. If Lin Chen knew he was a titled Douluo, and accidentally let it slip in front of Xiao Wu, wouldn't that scare Xiao Wu into running away overnight? That was a 100,000 year spirit ring and spirit bone. Besides, one must always be on guard. What if after Lin Chen learned his identity, instead of fawning over him, he ran to report him to Spirit Hall? All right. Although Yu Xiaogang didn't quite understand, it wasn't appropriate to say anything more. He only secretly thought it was a pity that Lin Chen might also be a twin spirits user, and not a twin waste spirits one. Such a peerless genius, yet he, the Grandmaster, had no chance to take him as a disciple. It was truly too much of a pity. Tang Hao said, I won't see little San, just tell him for me, when he breaks through to level 20, write to this address. He had wanted to say goodbye to his son just now, but he was afraid of passing on his bad luck. So he simply didn't see him. Tang Hao left an address for Yu Xiaogang and then left. Lin Chen had a good meal in the city, then returned to the academy dormitory, and with the system's help, successfully awakened his second spirit. It was a long sword, 3 feet and 3 inches long, grey all over, with black smoke constantly emitting from the blade, and the words disaster engraved under the crossguard. Sword of Calamity. A divine sword condensed from the source of calamity. Every attack carries the power of the source of calamity, which will constantly erode the target's fortune. Once the target's fortune is completely eroded, they will definitely die suddenly. Hiss. Upon receiving the system's feedback, Lin Chen couldn't help but gasp. This sort of calamity is too absurd, right? Eroding others' fortune, and dying suddenly once fortune is exhausted. Who can withstand this? Tang Hao actually dropped such a powerful spirit for him. He didn't know if he could withstand the backlash of bad luck. Uncle Hao, you better be careful if you die. Forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to Infinite Novel Audio. Considering that you provided me with such a powerful spirit, I will cast less calamity strike on Tang San in the future. Lin Chen smiled slightly and put away the sword of calamity. The current rewards are enough, it's time to focus energy on cultivation. He didn't know what was going on. The system clearly had spirit power rewards, but for so long, not a single level had been farmed, except for when he farmed it on Tang San initially. It seems this calamity strike still needs to be cast on Tang San more often. Better to slow down, after all he just said he would cast less calamity strike on him. Can't go back on his word, right? Let's make it 3 months, no more than that, any longer would be too comfortable. How can life always be smooth sailing? Only by experiencing the wind and rain can one see the most beautiful rainbow. Knock, knock, knock. Lin Chen looked up at the dormitory door. Who would come to find him at this time? Chapter 22, How a Simp is Made. Lin Chen opened the dormitory door and saw Xiao Chenyu and the other 2 standing outside. What's this about? Although they had some acquaintance, it wasn't much. Without a reason, the 3 of them wouldn't usually come looking for him. That, Grandmaster, we wanted to ask, you and that group of work-study students. Xiao Chenyu didn't finish his sentence, but the meaning was clear. We are not close. Lin Chen shook his head, having already guessed the situation. He had been wondering why the bet between Xiao Wu and Xiao Chenyu's group had disappeared. So it turned out these 3 thought he had a connection with Xiao Wu and the others. Hearing Lin Chen say this, Xiao Chenyu and the others visibly breathed a sigh of relief. However, Lin Chen suddenly added a however. instantly making the three of them nervous again. Liu Long asked, "Grandmaster, however, what?" Lin Chen looked them up and down. "However, if it's a one-on-one fight, you three probably wouldn't be a match for that Tang San and Xiao Wu." Huh. The three were dumbfounded, thinking the Grandmaster was looking down on them too much, right? Lin Chen explained, "If you had just bothered to ask about them, you would know that both Tang San and Xiao Wu have innate full spirit power. Furthermore, they have already obtained their first spirit ring. Both are one-ring spirit masters, with a 100-year first spirit ring. What do you have to fight them one-on-one?" Upon hearing this, the three's pupils constricted. From start to finish, they had never taken those work-study students seriously, so they hadn't bothered to inquire about Tang San and Xiao Wu's information at all. They never expected that Tang San and Xiao Wu would actually have innate full spirit power. Since when did innate full spirit power become so worthless? It's one thing that two appeared at once, but they were both work-study students. You've got to be kidding, right? This is troublesome now. Two geniuses with innate full spirit power and 100-year spirit rings. Fighting is bad, not fighting is also bad. If they fight, they only have a chance in a group brawl, but that would easily escalate the conflict. Two geniuses with innate full spirit power cannot be easily offended. If they don't fight, that little girl will just push her luck again. Lin Chen. Just as the three didn't know what to do, a shout interrupted their thoughts. The four of them looked over. They saw Tang San had just come down from upstairs and was walking towards them. His expression seemed to carry a hint of hesitation. Grandmaster, will take our leave." Xiao Chenyu was very tactful, knowing that Tang San must have something to do coming to find Lin Chen. He knew the two came from the same village. It was precisely because of this that they had tolerated Xiao Wu's provocations until now. "All right." Lin Chen just nodded indifferently, having no intention of interfering in this matter. Fights between little brats weren't interesting. That. Tang San waited until the three had walked away before speaking, but he was fidgeting and couldn't get it out. Lin Chen looked curious. He really couldn't imagine why Tang San would come to find him, nor what kind of matter would make him act so coy. "Just say what you need to say." Tang San wanted to speak several times but stopped, taking a moment to gather his courage. Could I borrow some money from you?" After saying this, his face immediately flushed with a hint of red. He lowered his head, not daring to meet Lin Chen's gaze. If he could help it, he would absolutely never borrow money from anyone. But his teacher insisted that he pursue Xiao Wu. Tang San really didn't understand. He didn't even have that ability anymore, so what was the point of chasing Xiao Wu even if he succeeded? Besides, he and Xiao Wu were only 6 years old. If it weren't for the fact that the other person was his teacher, he would really want to call him a beast. Hearing that he wanted to borrow money, a hint of astonishment appeared on Lin Chen's face. This didn't seem like Tang San's personality. "Why is you borrowing money?" Lin Chen was genuinely curious about what reason would make Tang San ask him to borrow money. "Oh, this, that." Tang San stammered for a long while, ultimately too embarrassed to say it. Seeing this, Lin Chen didn't make things difficult for him. "Speak, how much do you need?" He wasn't short of money, and he didn't mind giving Tang San some compensation. Tang San was overjoyed and quickly said, "1 gold coin will do." Lin Chen. "Aren't you already a spirit master? You just need to register at the spirit hall, and you can receive 1 gold coin every month. Why do you need to borrow from me? Besides, your teacher is at least a spirit grandmaster. His monthly subsidy is 10 gold coins, and he's also a friend of the dean. He can't even produce 1 gold coin." Tang San fell silent upon hearing this. His teacher had indeed mentioned the subsidy, but his father didn't allow him to take it. As for exactly why, he didn't know either. As for his teacher, he had ability and his reputation was loud, it's just that he seemed a bit poor. Asking Lin Chen to borrow money was his teacher's idea. His teacher said he would help him pay it back when his subsidy was issued, next month. Seeing his reaction, Lin Chen roughly guessed the reason. It seems Haozi has more backbone than Gangzi. As for you, Xiaogang, he's a spirit grandmaster, yet he can't even come up with 1 gold coin. That's really something. Lin Chen shook his head and took out 10 gold coins to hand to Tang San. Take it and use it, no need to pay me back. Looking at the 10 gold coins, Tang San couldn't help but widen his eyes. He hadn't expected the other party to be so generous. Thank you. After Tang San sincerely thanked him, he took the gold coins handed over by the other party. Lin Chen waved his hand, "You're welcome. Then I'll head down first." Tang San bowed slightly to express his gratitude, and only turned after Lin Chen nodded. Lin Chen subconsciously wanted to speak, but the words reached his lips and he held them back. Since he said he'd let him take his time, he had to let him take his time. After Tang San went downstairs, he immediately sought out Xiao Wu. He said he wanted to treat her to something delicious. Xiao Wu naturally couldn't refuse, and happily followed him out of the academy. Following what Yu Xiaogang taught him, Tang San took Xiao Wu shopping in the city, ate delicious food, and then bought her some small gifts. But what was unexpected was the first gift he bought for Xiao Wu. It was actually a set of bedding. If Yu Xiaogang knew, he would probably kick him to death. And Xiao Wu was stunned upon receiving the so-called gift. What's the meaning of this? Does he dislike her? Thank you. Xiao Wu gritted her teeth and spat out the 2 words, took the bedding, and turned to leave. Tang San was dumbfounded. Shouldn't she be happy receiving a gift? Why is this different from what the teacher said? On the other side, after Tang Hao left Nuding City, he arrived at the cave where Ah Yin was located. He sat down beside Ah Yin. Ah Yin, I'm sorry, I failed to take good care of our child, not only causing his second spirit to shatter, but also causing him to lose a man's dignity. Do you know? I am actually a jinx. I cursed my parents to death, cursed you to death, and now even our child has suffered because of me. Tang Hao's tone was low, talking to himself as he poured his heart out to Ah Yin. It would have been better if he hadn't spoken. Once he did, he immediately felt a tightness in his chest. He didn't understand why the heavens would treat him this way. What exactly did he, Tang Hao, do wrong? Tang Hao was extremely depressed and unconsciously clenched his fists. An inexplicable anger was rising in his heart. And as the anger erupted, his blood began to rise. It even aggravated his old injuries. Chapter 23, Tang San's Obsessive Simping. Under normal circumstances, Tang Hao would have been able to detect the anomaly in time and suppress his condition by regulating his Qi and blood, but unfortunately, the black aura between his brows suddenly erupted. The eruption of bad luck instantly triggered Tang Hao's internal injuries. There was no warning, no transition period. By the time Tang Hao noticed, it was already too late to suppress it. Warm blood suddenly sprayed out from Tang Hao's mouth. The blood blossomed in the air, and some of it fell onto Ah Yin, adding mottled crimson stains to her blue and gold body. The eruption of his internal injuries brought far more than just coughing up blood. The spirit power inside Tang Hao's body also became chaotic. Damn it, what is going on? Tang Hao's expression carried a trace of bewilderment, mixed with anxiety. He quickly sat cross-legged and began to suppress the chaotic spirit power within his body. However, his attempt to suppress it only backfired. The chaotic spirit power, upon being suppressed, instantly went wild, rampaging through his body and putting an immense strain on his meridians. It's not good. Tang Hao's expression changed drastically, but by the time he realized, it was already too late. The sound, like a deflating balloon, was exceptionally clear in the silent cave. A large amount of spirit power leaked out from Tang Hao's body. A sweet taste welled up in his throat, and he couldn't help but spit out another mouthful of blood. No, my spirit power. Feeling his spirit power continuously leaking away, Tang Hao was anxious beyond measure. Unfortunately, there was nothing he could do. He didn't dare to suppress it anymore, or the consequences would only be more severe. Tang Hao's spirit power rank began to plummet rapidly. In the blink of an eye, his rank dropped to rank 91. He was on the verge of falling out of the titled realm. No! Tang Hao's eyes widened in fury, his face contorted in rage, and he couldn't help but let out an earth-shattering roar. He didn't dare to imagine. If he fell out of the titled realm, how would he face that behemoth spirit hall in the future, and how would he protect little San? Perhaps the heavens heard his cry and his indignation. His spirit power actually gradually stopped leaking. His final rank barely held at rank 91. He maintained his titled Douluo realm. But overwhelmed by anger and frustration, Tang Hao spat out another mouthful of blood. His body slowly fell backward. Thud! Tang Hao's body slammed heavily onto the ground, and he fell unconscious. Xiao Chenyu and his group still had a fight with Xiao Wu and the other work-study students, but they didn't choose to gang up on them. Instead, they just went through the motions. In the end, Xiao Wu still became the Sister Xiao Wu of Notting Academy. However, none of this had anything to do with Lin Chen. He had already focused his attention on cultivating his spirit power. He only occasionally brought disasters upon Tang San and Gangzi. And he always maintained a rhythm of no major disasters, but constant minor mishaps. Tang San and Gangzi had long been tormented to the point of questioning their very existence. Perhaps because the intensity was too low, he hadn't farmed any particularly good rewards. It was worth mentioning that, for some reason, Tang San had actually turned into a simp. He tried all sorts of ways to please Xiao Wu all day long, but she barely paid him any attention. This left Lin Chen completely dumbfounded. It wasn't like this in the original novel. How did Tang San become a simp? This kind of change caught Lin Chen somewhat off guard. Now that the relationship between Xiao Wu and Tang San had changed like this, would Xiao Wu still go to Shrek with Tang San? If she didn't go to Shrek, would she be captured and kept in captivity by Tang Hao? Most definitely. There was absolutely no way Tang Hao would watch 100,000-year spirit beast slip away from right under his nose, even if his own wife was 100,000-year spirit beast in human form. In the original novel, Tang Hao had also said that if Xiao Wu and Tang San hadn't ended up together, he would have kept Xiao Wu in captivity and killed her when Tang San needed her in the future. Why is Tang San so useless? If Xiao Wu is kept in captivity by Tang Hao, where am I going to find her in the future? Xiao Wu's spirit ring might not be that great, but her spirit bone skills were actually very good. Teleportation and Paragon Golden Body were both divine skills. Whatever, let nature take its course. Lin Chen shook his head, no longer paying attention to the simp's pursuit of the girl. Time flowed by slowly. Before he knew it, 2 years had passed since Lin Chen arrived at Notting Academy. On this day, Lin Chen opened his eyes. System Open Status Panel. As soon as Lin Chen's thought fell, the attribute panel suddenly appeared before his eyes. Name Lin Chen. Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip, Sword of Calamity. Rank 20. Mental 20. Constitution 33. Cultivation Methods and Secret Techniques. Click to expand. Looking at the rank on the panel, the corners of Lin Chen's mouth curled up slightly. 7 ranks in 2 years, quite decent. Tang San was only rank 18 now, already left 2 ranks behind by him. Evidently, the cultivation speed of the mystic origin art was indeed a bit faster than the mysterious heaven skill. So here came the question. For his second spirit ring, should he hunt a spirit beast, or use a system-granted spirit ring? Lin Chen pondered for a moment, and ultimately chose the former. The uncertainty of system rewards was too great. It was better to save the system-granted spirit ring for later. 1,000-year spirit beasts were easy to find, but 100,000-year and million-year spirit beasts were hard to come by. According to his current pace, he would be able to absorb a 100,000-year ring for his 8th spirit ring, plus his second spirit, he would need at least 1100,000-year spirit rings in total. It was better to keep the system-granted spirit rings for later. Knock, knock, knock. Lin Chen looked up at the dormitory door, his expression filled with speechlessness. He didn't even need to think to know it must be Tang San. That bastard had already lost his mind, constantly thinking about spending money to please Xiao Wu, which had artificially put her on a pedestal. Now Xiao Wu was like a master fisherwoman, almost hooking Tang San completely. Xiaogang was supposed to be some sort of Douluo guru of love, so how did he end up teaching a simp disciple? He really wasn't cut out to be a teacher. Lin Chen stood up, walked to the dormitory door, and opened it. His gaze landed on the area between Tang San's eyebrows. Unknowingly, Tang San had accumulated another 5 stacks of bad luck. This upcoming eruption of bad luck would definitely not be weaker than the one in the Hunting Soul Forest. Lin Chen. No. Tang San had just spoken when he was coldly interrupted by Lin Chen. Did he really fucking think of him as an ATM? He didn't mind giving Tang San some compensation, but that didn't mean he was willing to be endlessly exploited. He wasn't Tang San's father. Tang San hesitated and finally lowered his head in deep shame. He didn't want to be like this either, but if he didn't buy Xiao Wu delicious food or send her gifts, she wouldn't even say a single word to him. What else could he do? Lin Chen ignored the simp, locked the dormitory door, and left, leaving Tang San standing there stupidly all by himself. By the time Tang San snapped out of it, Lin Chen had already disappeared at the end of the hallway. What should I do? What can I do? Tang San scratched his head frantically, as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. He needed money, but other than Lin Chen, he couldn't find a second wealthy person. How about selling him some hidden weapons? Chapter 24, 2000-Year Purple Gold, Thunder Rock. After Lin Chen left the academy, he went straight to the carriage rental shop. Boss, rent me a carriage. Hearing this, the boss immediately came out to greet him, but seeing he was alone, he couldn't help but ask, "Little friend, where are your parents?" Lin Chen was filled with confusion. Nobody asked about an adult the last time he came. Does a kid not have the right to rent one now? I'm alone, can't I rent one? The boss waved his hand. It's not that, it's just that Fasanua province hasn't been peaceful lately. I suggest you travel with an adult. Lin Chen was even more confused. He hadn't heard of any situation. He asked curiously, how is it not peaceful? The boss didn't hide it. It is said that a flower-picking bandit has drifted into the territory of Fasanua province. Lin Chen looked bewildered. No, boss, what does this flower-picking bandit have to do with me? The boss smiled slightly. This flower-picking bandit has a weird preference. He specifically chooses little boys to mess with. Lin Chen's eyes widened instantly. Specifically choosing little boys to mess with. Can that even be called a flower-picking bandit? Isn't that just a pure pervert? Lin Chen asked, may I ask what level that pervert is? The boss said, Spirit Saint, and it is said that his spirit and spirit ability are extremely strange. Spirit Hall and the Empire have sent several spirit saints, but they haven't been able to catch him yet. Lin Chen asked again, then can he fly? Such a pervert was indeed scary. If he didn't have the ability to protect himself, Lin Chen would have to consider whether to give up on hunting a spirit ring and instead absorb a system-granted spirit ring. The boss shook his head, no. Hearing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. As long as he couldn't fly. If the opponent couldn't fly, even if he really encountered him, he would have a chance to run away. Fine, arrange a carriage for me. Lin Chen had made up his mind, so he didn't ask any more questions. Seeing this, the boss didn't say anything more and immediately arranged a carriage for him. The carriage Lin Chen was riding in soon drove out of the south gate of Niuding City. 1000-year spirit beasts were extremely rare in the Hunting Soul Forest, so Lin Chen's destination this time was the Stardew Great Forest, and the Stardew Great Forest was located to the south of Niuding City. After leaving the city, the carriage drove past a round-faced, bearded man. The round-faced, bearded man glanced at the carriage, then turned his gaze toward Niuding City. The corners of his mouth turned up slightly, revealing a perverted smile. "I hope you don't disappoint me too much," the round-faced, bearded man muttered and strode toward the city. "Why do I feel a chill on my back?" Lin Chen, in the carriage, felt as if he had been targeted by something terrifying, inexplicably feeling a chill on his back. However, that feeling was fleeting, so he didn't think much of it. The carriage sped along. The Stardew Great Forest was only over 600 li away from Niuding City. It wasn't close, but it wasn't far either. By dusk the next day, Lin Chen had arrived at the small town outside the Stardew Great Forest. However, he didn't rush into the Stardew Great Forest, but rested in the town for one night. The next day, early morning, Lin Chen, dressed in black tight-fitting clothes, stepped into the dense primeval jungle. As one of the largest gathering places for spirit beasts on the Douluo Continent, the Stardew Great Forest's environment was extremely primitive, and the vegetation was far more lush than the Hunting Soul Forest. The types and quantity of spirit beasts here were not comparable to the Hunting Soul Forest. It was full of crises here, and humans could be attacked by spirit beasts at any time. If there weren't clear zoning divisions, Lin Chen would absolutely not dare to step foot alone, even if his strength far exceeded those of the same level. He was cautious all the way, passing through the habitat of 10-year spirit beasts, heading towards the deeper Centennial Circle, and even the Millennial Spirit Beast Circle. During this process, he was also attacked by some spirit beasts. But overall, it was safe. The scorching sun was in the sky. At noon, Lin Chen officially stepped into the Millennial Spirit Beast Circle. Next, it depends on luck. Lin Chen muttered to himself, his eyes scanning everything around him. If it weren't for the fear that the exposure of a Millennial Second Spirit Ring would bring unnecessary trouble, he would never have taken this risk alone. But since he was already here, naturally there was no reason to regret and retreat. "Let's go." Lin Chen cheered himself up and started searching laterally. There were many types of spirit beasts in the Stardew Great Forest, but the territory was also very vast, and at the millennial level, they mostly had their own turf. Basically, there was no such thing as encountering a millennial spirit beast every 30 or 50 meters. Unless they trespassed into the territory of group-dwelling spirit beasts. Lin Chen took a look from afar, and after confirming that the spirit beast in the territory was not his target, he bypassed it without looking back. This search lasted all afternoon. Luck is really hard to say. Just like Tang San and Gangzi, when they were unlucky without any warning. And Lin Chen was the same. As he was walking, his footsteps suddenly paused, and the heavenly thunder whip was instantly in his hand. He raised his head and looked up at the sky. Just as he looked up, a behemoth suddenly swooped down. A huge shadow shrouded him. He saw a bird with a body length of only 3 meters, but a wingspan exceeding 6 meters, covered in purple feathers, with claws like steel knives, swooping straight at him. 2,000-year purple gold, Thunder Rock. Almost instantly, Lin Chen judged its identity and age. The purple gold Thunder Rock was a top-tier lightning attribute spirit beast, not only possessing extremely outstanding speed, but also controlling a powerful purple thunder. Such a top-tier lightning attribute spirit beast was undoubtedly a good choice for him. Luck is truly wonderful. As Lin Chen retreated rapidly, the heavenly thunder whip in his hand lashed out fiercely. It lashed straight towards the purple gold Thunder Rock. Facing the incoming long whip, the purple gold Thunder Rock was fearless. It didn't dodge either. It slightly folded its wings, its body swayed like a falling leaf, instantly avoiding the long whip, and continued to pounce on Lin Chen. Pah! The long whip lashed in the air, suddenly erupting with a loud explosion. The purple gold Thunder Rock's speed was extremely fast, reaching the top of Lin Chen's head in the blink of an eye. Lin Chen couldn't retract the whip or change his stance in time. Rumble! The sound of thunder suddenly exploded in the jungle, and Lin Chen's figure was like a purple lightning bolt, retreating tens of meters away in the blink of an eye. The purple gold Thunder Rock missed, and the wind it brought up swept up falling leaves across the sky. As Lin Chen sneered, he flicked his wrist, and the heavenly thunder whip swept out like a tornado. Purple thunder arcs surged on the long whip, entangling and condensing, turning into a huge thunder net, suppressing straight towards the purple-gold thunder rock. Chirp! Perhaps feeling the threat, the purple-gold thunder rock suddenly let out a cry. Similar purple electric arcs appeared on its body surface. Then it flapped its wings, and trails of purple thunder swept out like a gale. Bang, bang, bang! Dense explosions rang out in the forest, and firework-like thunder bloomed in the air. The purple-gold thunder rock flapped its wings, wanting to fly back into the sky. Rumble! The sound of thunder rang out again, and Lin Chen suddenly appeared above it. Chapter 25, Tang San targeted. Lin Chen stood in the void, looking down at the purple-gold thunder rock below. He actually saw a trace of human-like shock in its eyes. Without any hesitation, the heavenly thunder whip swept out again as Lin Chen swung it. The speed of the heavenly thunder whip was not slow, but it could not be considered godlike speed either. However, no matter how fast a bird is, once it lands, it is just a ground-walking chicken. The purple-gold thunder rock jumped up while flapping its wings, trying to dodge backwards. But just as it had jumped up, the long whip had already lashed onto its body. With a crisp "pa" sound, a large patch of the purple-gold thunder rock's gorgeous feathers was whipped off, and a bloodstain appeared on the flesh beneath the feathers. The force of the whip was not great, but the power penetrated directly into the purple-gold thunder rock's body, forcibly knocking it back to the ground just as it had jumped up. Lin Chen took the opportunity to flick his wrist, and a purple lightning web emerged once again. Chirp! The purple-gold thunder rock wanted to use the same trick again, but just as it had climbed up and its wings were barely raised, the massive lightning web had already descended. The purple lightning web covered the purple-gold thunder rock, and purple thunderbolts continuously roamed over its body, erupting with bursts of thunder-like explosions. Chirp! The purple-gold thunder rock struggled with all its might, while emitting a sharp cry. It clearly possessed extremely high lightning resistance. That seemingly powerful lightning web, at first glance, did not seem to have caused it too much damage, only binding it. However, this was enough. Die! With a sharp shout, Lin Chen flicked his wrist, and the sharp tip of the whip pierced directly into the purple-gold thunder rock's body. Although the purple-gold thunder rock had high lightning resistance, its defense was lacking. The sharp tip of the whip instantly pierced through its body, passing out from the other side. The purple-gold thunder rock's body couldn't help but stiffen. Its struggling movements gradually became weak, and finally it collapsed straight onto the ground. However, no spirit ring appeared, showing that its life had not yet come to an end. Lin Chen pulled out the long whip and lashed it once more. The heavenly thunder whip was as flexible as an extension of his own arm, and the sharp tip of the whip pierced through the purple-gold thunder rock's head. A purple spirit ring slowly emerged from the purple-gold thunder rock's corpse. Seeing this, Lin Chen breathed a slight sigh of relief. Fortunately, he had the ultimate skill Sky Thunder movement rewarded by the system, otherwise he would have been done for during the first pounce. 1,000-year spirit beast is indeed extraordinary. Lin Chen sighed with emotion in his heart, then descended from the air. 2. After taking a deep breath, he sat cross-legged directly in front of the purple-gold thunder rock's corpse. Although absorbing a spirit ring in this perilous jungle without anyone to guard him was a very dangerous thing, those were the conditions. He had no choice at all, as that purple spirit ring was guided by Lin Chen to settle onto his body. A tremendous squeezing pressure descended along with it. However, Lin Chen, whose physique had already reached level 33, was fully capable of enduring it. During the process of absorbing the spirit ring, no accidents occurred. Soon, Lin Chen received the feedback information for his spirit ability. Thunder shadow layers swing the whip to slash out arc-shaped thunder blades, causing piercing and explosive damage to enemies in the path, can swing the whip 9 times consecutively. At first glance, it seemed like just a spirit ability for clearing out cannon fodder. but the specific power would only be known after testing it. It was also at that instant that Lin Chen's bottleneck was finally broken through. Surging spirit power emerged from within his body. And as that spirit power was continuously refined by him, that purple second spirit ring began to pulsate rhythmically on his body, along with his first spirit ring. Lin Chen opened his eyes, moved his mind, and the attribute panel appeared. Name Lin Chen. Spirit Heavenly Thunder Whip, Sword of Calamity. Level 22. Mental Force 22. Physique 35. Cultivation Technique, Click to expand. Just like after absorbing the first ring, the 1000-year second ring only brought him 2 levels of spirit power, and his mental force and physique also increased by 2 levels along with his level. To want a 10,000-year fourth ring, I must find a way to increase my mental force as well. Lin Chen muttered to himself. For spirit rings below 10,000 years, as long as one's physique is strong enough, one can endure it, but the soul shock possessed by spirit rings above 10,000 years requires sufficiently strong mental force. And as far as Lin Chen knew, there were only 3 methods to increase mental force. A mental-type spirit bone for the head, the Tang sect ultimate skill Purple Demon Eye, and the immortal herb Wangchun Autumn Water due from the ice and fire Yin Yang well. There was basically no hope for the first 2, but he could still think of a way for the Wangchun Autumn Water due. Before level 40, I must find a way to get my hands on the Wangchun Autumn Water due. Lin Chen secretly made up his mind. It's time to go back. He stood up, scanned the surroundings, and headed towards the outside of the Stardew Great Forest. Notting Academy. Tang San stood outside the door of Lin Chen's dormitory, his brows furrowed into a river shape. It's been 3 days, where has this person run off to? He had already made up his mind to use a silent sleeve dart to trade with Lin Chen for money. As a result, he hadn't been able to find the person for 3 consecutive days. Zyro Wu hadn't paid any attention to him for 3 days, which made him feel incomparably irritable. Could it be that he is deliberately avoiding me? Tang San didn't think in the direction of hunting for a spirit ring at all. After all, both of them had innate full spirit power, so the level gap shouldn't be too large. Moreover, his first ring was 400 years old, infinitely close to the limit mentioned by his teacher, allowing his level to directly reach level 12. Lin Chen's current level could only be lower than his, not higher. All he could think of was that Lin Chen was deliberately avoiding him. This is not a solution. Even if I trade the silent sleeve dart for money, how long can it last for expenses? I must have my own way of making money. Even at this point, Tang San didn't even think about giving up on Zyro Wu. Instead, he was thinking about how to make money. For him, Zyro Wu now was no longer just a simple task from his teacher. I'll go stroll in the city and see if I can find any work. Tang San thought for a moment, then turned and went downstairs. Because Lin Chen frequently provided financial aid to Tang San, he did not go to work in a blacksmith shop, as in the original story. He left the academy. Tang San wandered aimlessly through Niuding City. It's just that he didn't notice that a pair of eyes had already targeted him. It was a middle-aged man with a round face and a beard. And this round-faced bearded man was exactly the flower-plucking thief mentioned by the carriage company boss. He had been in Niuding City for 3 days. For these 3 days, he had been scouting locations, mainly to figure out if there were any strong experts in the city. Caution was the reason he had not been arrested to this day. After 3 days of scouting, he had already confirmed it. The strongest expert in this Niuding City was only at the level of a spirit ancestor. It posed no threat to him at all. And ordinary little boys could not withstand his torment. So he targeted the students of the Spirit Master Academy. His luck seemed to be good. He had just arrived near the academy and found a target. It was a bit ugly, but its advantage was that it was tender. The round-faced bearded man did not rashly make a move, but followed him from a distance, looking for a suitable environment and a suitable opportunity to strike. And this suitable environment and opportunity arrived as the other party turned into a secluded alley. That's it for today's chapter. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to Infinite Novel Audio. For more stories, check out my other channel AI Otaku Studio, and I'll see you in the next chapter.